All right, let's see. We have microphone. I have clips for you. I have good news about Sir Julian, soon to be Sir Julian Assange. Uh, I think soon to be knighted. They gotta make it up to him somehow, right? Um, and this is what I've been saying for a while. Is that if you think that it looks like Donald Trump is going to pardon Julian Assange, why are they still trying to extradite him? Because they're not trying to pardon Julian Assange. Um, that's not going to happen. So I have that video for you. I have a video about the Nashville bombing where an FBI expert connects the defund police movement to the Nashville bombing conspiracies, ever growing conspiracies, which is really weird because I, for whatever reason, didn't think about the defund the police movement and the Nashville bombing because it seems like an automatic thing, right? Defund the police, Nashville bombing, Nashville police notified, dude's making bombs in his RV by his girlfriend. Nashville police were notified by his girlfriend that dude is making bombs in the RV, and then they say, oh, this guy was on nobody's radar. But the truth and then this FBI guy brings up the defund the police thing, and I'm thinking, click. Right? Every time, they say defund the Pentagon. Oh, look what happened. Oh, 9/11, we can't defund the Pentagon. Right? See, then they remind you how much they need the police. See, you know what happened if the police were defunded? Right? Right? Maybe somebody would actually have notified somebody that would have actually watched this person when the girlfriend told him that he was building bombs in his RV. Or someone actually might have checked it out and said, hey, that guy is building bombs in his RV. We should probably do something about that. So I have a video about that. I have a fucking tiger. Oh, and Tanya Roberts is alive, in case anybody's wondering. Because Pam Anderson. Oh, Pammy looks like a very nice girl. Okay, so don't talk shit about Pam. She's a very nice girl who's looking out for the right people, and has priorities. Again, Tanya Roberts is alive. Okay, all you people who don't understand this, Tanya Roberts is alive. I have that video. I'll play it for you in just a minute. And I have a video about the USS Nimitz being told to stay in the Persian Gulf area near Iran. And there's some really weird propaganda on this one that I gotta show you guys. And then I have a little bit of a video about the Democrats protesting elections in previous years gone by. As I've been telling you guys, this is not a Republican thing. This is the way it should be. Is that if there's shenanigans in the elections, someone should be standing up against them. Okay, this time it's the Republicans that are standing up against them. In the past, mostly it's been the Democrats that have stood up and said, hey, there's something not right here. This election should not be certified. And now everybody's like, oh my God, can you believe they're doing this? Well, yeah, this is the way, democracy is supposed to work. This is the way it's laid out in the Constitution. Oh my God, they're following the Constitution. What is wrong with these people? We'll see. And again, I'm no Donald Trump fan. But if anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen. This is a call-in show. If you'd like to talk about Julian Assange, if you'd like to talk about Tanya Roberts, if you'd like to talk about the Nashville bombing, let me know. I'm here. Let's see. And I have bong hits, too. I really need a bong hit. Does anybody else really need a bong hit? I really need a bong hit. Hello, caller.
Hey, boss, how's it going?
Going okay. How about you?
Well, I'm a little bit happy for a second.
You're happy?
Yeah,
Good.
because the guy should be free. He got sent to jail for some BS thing regarding sexual relationship with a woman. But apparently he was having sex and he removed the condom or something. So I am not sure what the law says regarding that in, I think, Switzerland,
Yeah.
which I don't know. In my opinion, that's a BS accusation. That was just an excuse to send them in jail and then extradite it to the U.S.
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
Manny, let me point out that before the BS accusation came forward to vilify Julian Assange, the accusation being that he had sex with a woman and he was wearing a condom, and then the condom came, and then something happened to the condom, and the woman didn't want to have sex anymore or something, or she had regrets about having sex or something, and all of a sudden that's rape. And she didn't even want to tell a story, from what I understand. But this is Julian Assange before all those allegations was like on all the U.S. media, all the mainstream were doing interviews with him about his stuff. He was in all the print media talking. The WikiLeaks leaks were everywhere, and all of a sudden, Julian Assange is, this girl accuses Julian Assange of rape, which is just bullshit, and since then they've been torturing him, keeping him naked in solitary confinement, in a cold jail cell, and now they, finally a judge is like, yeah, we can't continue to do this. So hopefully there'll be more good news about Julian Assange very soon.
So what I've been reading about Assange is that apparently he got some leaks on his website. And he was working with some other journalists across the world too. And apparently they contacted the State Department and said, hey, we have this document. And we're going to leak it out, though, but before we leak it out, we want to show you what we have so you can redact some names so you don't compromise intelligence or compromise some names on it. And apparently what I read is that one of the persons that I was working with Assange, he went wrong.
Yeah.
And he published an entire thing without redaction, which I believe that was the cause for the U.S. government to retaliate this way against Assange.
Yeah.
Because they actually posted intelligence without redacting and compromising a lot of things that the U.S. has. So that's why they're treating Assange the way they were treating him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand the grudge that the U.S. government has, but, he's doing his job as a journalist to show crimes committed by the government, and then all of a sudden the government has a problem with him. So, it's obvious that, as long as you're not showing crimes committed by the U.S. government, the government's not going to come after you. The minute that you do, you're a rapist and a whole lot of other things that are just a bunch of bullshit. So we can torture you endlessly.
So the U.S. government is supposed to tell the world and say propaganda in the news that we're like higher moral ground and we are the leaders of the free world and stuff. And then
Team America, World Police, fuck yeah!
Yeah. And certainly things like this come out, and where's the Democrat? Where's the standard? We're just a bunch, like, this country is run by people that they just want to, I don't know, that they want to set their agenda with the excuse that they're like the leaders of the world and whatever freedom and stuff. So we're the perpetrators. So. But yeah. No, and the other thing I read about Assange, apparently my president in Mexico is willing to give him asylum.
I'm sorry, I didn't get what you said, Manny.
Sorry. The other thing that I read on the news is that the Mexican president is offering asylum to Assange. Do you hear about that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the Mexican president offered asylum to Assange. And he's not the only major high-profile political dissident that has asylum in Mexico. Evo Morales, the Bolivian president, he got asylum in Mexico, and he's a permanent resident in Mexico, but he went back to, I believe, Argentina, so he can continue his revolution and came back to Bolivia, though. But yeah, he is an official asylum in Mexico and a permanent resident, and a Mexican permanent resident now, Evo Morales. So I think the same thing is going to happen with Assange as well. Like he asked asylum in Ecuador, and he was living at the embassy, but then he got exposed by a new administration. And now the Mexican government, which by the way is a leftist government right now, like a very far left,
Yeah.
is offering asylum. Look it up.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I'm glad that they're offering asylum in Mexico, though. I mean, I don't agree with the current government at all, but that's one of the few things that I actually agree with.
Yeah, I'm really surprised there's not a lot more governments taking action like that. Making it clear that that truth and journalism isn't a crime in our eyes, because it's unfortunate that this is all about retribution by the Pentagon, and it's just not acceptable. I'm really tired. I played this video for you guys about this soldier that was that was injected with fucking anthrax vaccine 3 times as punishment. I don't know how a Pentagon like that exists, but I know that the American people, if they knew about it, wouldn't want it to exist. I'm pretty fucking sure. Go ahead, Manny.
No. Yeah, absolutely, though. There's no excuse. The U.S. no longer has a moral stand when it comes to Assange. In fact, I think they should pay him some sort of restitution for all the trouble that Assange has passed through in jail.
Yeah.
Like, give him a green card. Trump
Yeah.
should give him a total pardon, though, because he's a publisher.
Yeah, I really hope so. I hope that somebody's held accountable for the torture of Julian Assange, because it's just not right that it's done in front of the whole world. It's done like a warning to journalists, to other people who might come. It's like I keep talking about holding people accountable, like George W. Bush and Barack Obama, for the crimes against humanity that they have committed, so that the people who come behind them, we make examples of those people, so that people who come behind them don't act like they have a green light to go and do more fucking crimes against humanity in the name of good Americans. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I know. It's just such a BS, and I'm losing confidence in the U.S. And I think just the U.S. is just playing the little game. They're playing a front game, like a PR game they're just saving face. That's what I'm trying to say. The United States government is trying to save face in the current situation. But yeah, they no longer have the moral ground to say we're like the leaders of the free world.
And it's really unfortunate, because the only reason that we don't have that moral high ground to say things like that is because we haven't held people like Barack Obama and George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney accountable for their crimes against humanity. We act like, oh, that's just the price of doing business with America in the world, which I'm telling you will not turn out well for the United States. Somebody's going to say this is unacceptable and it needs to stop now. Go ahead.
It needs to stop. Absolutely, I agree with you. But, and yeah, I'm reading some of the comments, and some people don't believe that the Mexican president offered asylum to Assange. Go ahead and look it up. Just do a quick Google, and you'll be surprised.
Yeah. All right, Manny. Well, it's good to hear from you.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. Talk to you soon, I hope. Bye. See ya. And that's our buddy Manny from the East Side. He's in Eastern Washington right now. He used to be in the east side of Seattle, but he had to move due to COVID issues. So let's see. And again, I think that this, we've heard this rumors about Donald Trump going to pardon Julian Assange. I don't know who the heck thinks that that's true. Donald Trump is only pardoning people that are good for Donald Trump. All that matters is Donald Trump is Donald Trump. Okay? And there's no way that we love our fucking police state so much, Donald Trump is ever going to fucking pardon somebody like Julian Assange. Okay? So, it's really good. And obviously, the United States is actively trying to extradite Julian Assange to the United States, you know, and if Donald Trump even does pardon Julian Assange, let's say that he does, why did he wait until the very last day, knowing that the guy is being tortured by the British government, day after day, naked in solitary confinement, you know? And Donald Trump just leaves him there. And when he's asked about Julian Assange and possibly pardoning Julian Assange, he says, "Oh, I don't know anything about Julian Assange. Oh, we love WikiLeaks. I don't know anything about Julian Assange." Okay? So, if you think that Donald Trump is on the side of anybody other than Donald Trump, you are delusionary at best. That being said, let's play a video about the USS Nimitz staying in Iran while I heat up my bong. If anybody would like to join me in a bong hit, I will be ready momentarily. Here you go. The USS Nimitz staying in the Iranian area is supposed to be coming home to the Puget Sound area. And I also want to point out that when they talk about the Iranian threats, their source that they're sourcing here, and it makes no sense that there are any Iranian threats, because the last thing Iran wants is to try and make trouble with the United States when there's a new incoming administration, right? When there's the administration that made a deal with them on Joe Biden follow up, Obama Part 3 or whatever. This is it doesn't make any sense that Iran would want to upset the waters right before a new White House takes over. So, and again, for their sourcing of their information that Iran is threatening blah blah blah, members of the White House, Iran is threatening retribution. They source the mother of a sailor on the USS Nimitz. This is the best sources they can get. This is the news in the United States of America now.
The USS Nimitz will stay in the Middle East a while longer rather than returning home to Bremerton because of Iranian threats to the president and other U.S. officials. According to the New York Times, the Pentagon made that decision just 3 days after sending the warship home as a signal to de-escalate rising tensions with Tehran. The mother of a sailor on board says U.S. intelligence agencies have been assessing threats that Iran is looking to target U.S. military officers and leaders to avenge the death of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, who was killed in a U.S. drone strike just a year ago.
All right, who's ready for a bong hit? I'm ready for a bong hit. This guy right here is ready for a bong hit. That's who's ready for a bong hit. In case anybody's wondering who's ready for a bong hit, I'm ready for a bong hit. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys that clip because the Commander-in-Chief Donald Trump is actively trying to cause problems with Iran before he gets out of office. And he wants to do it so that Joe Biden can't come in and just start the Iranian nuclear deal all over again. Because that's the last thing that Netanyahu and Israel want. And there's no dick that Donald Trump likes in his mouth more than Netanyahu's and Israel's. So we're clear. So, there's a good chance, and this is something I've been talking about. I'm very concerned. This is the thing I'm most concerned about, is starting a war in the Middle East, and hopefully it's not going to happen. But again, that warship was supposed to be headed home, and now it's not, and it's not because it's being used as a threat to somebody who, for no reason, because a mom of a sailor said that Iran's threatening us. It is like Star Wars and the dark side, but I've been saying this all along. is that there's, the lines have been drawn. You either stand on the side of freedom or you stand on the side of the police state. That's the facts, Jack. And I've been saying that since I started YouTube. Since I started making videos on YouTube on camera. So, not so much the Star Wars thing. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but you have to choose a side. And when you look at what the United States government, the police state, the United States police state has become, it's more and more like the empire, right? It's more and more like just more. I was actually wondering the other night when I was thinking about this, as if Star Wars is somehow like an analogy of the United States. But who are the rebels? Who are the rebels? I mean, they're the good guys, right? Which I like rebels being good guys, and that's the way I generally view things. But we need to recognize the real enemy. That's been my message from day one. We have to not so much that we have to recognize it, but here it is. Look at what these people are doing in your name. These people are doing this day in, day out in your name with your tax dollars. And it's almost as if you going along with it. And I think that everybody here is tired of that. We don't need representation that doesn't represent any of us. Right? That's some kind of sick and twisted bullshit that I don't want to be related to. I don't want my name connected to. So, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, because it's from the United States, Mike supports this. No, I don't support this. And more people must speak out against this government. And it's not against Donald Trump. It's not against Joe Biden. It's against this government. Okay? Like Wilco saying, say hello to the new boss, same as the old boss. You actually blame this guy for what's happening. Well, there's the buck stops somewhere. Hey, I'm talking. All right. So, what?
Oh boy, this ain't working out too well.
What's happening?
Can you hear me?
Yes. What's happening?
Hey, what's up, Zubis? I couldn't hear you too well for some reason. Maybe it's my headphones being stupid. But not much, man. I was hearing you talk about the Star Wars movies and how it might be related to the United States. And so that just made me something pop in my head. So, a long time ago, I was watching when the first 3 movies were coming out. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
They had a History Channel special about it back when History Channel was like good and wasn't about Pawn Stars and all that crap.
Yeah.
Ancient aliens, which we can get into later, but not that ancient aliens. I mean, actual aliens. But
yeah. Whatever.
Anyway, so about the Star Wars special. So History Channel Star Wars special. It was about how Star Wars was actually based, a lot of the stories in Star Wars is based off of ancient myths and stuff. So George Lucas really constructed the story off of Star Wars, off of all these tales and legends of past. So it's like how kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi being a mentor character is based off of Merlin from, the old King Arthur tale.
Well, and so many other tales. I mean, if this is how all the kung fu movies work, the young guy has to overcome overwhelming odds, and some master comes along and helps him figure out how to become the real person that he is inside, to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's known as the hero's journey, as they call it.
Right.
Right. Circle and stuff.
It's kind of a Greek storytelling thing.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's where a lot of George Lucas's thought processes came from. Is those types of mythologies and the ancient tales of yore, and basically turning it into a modernistic setting. So that's what I think a lot of it comes from. Is a lot of those tales of empires rising and falling and corruption being rampant. I mean,
I was looking at it and I was just thinking, if you have to look at it in terms of the United States, the United States, the police state is the fucking empire, and the people in the streets are the rebels. And I mean, how which side are you on the dark side? I mean, because that's the United States government has made its decision, and there is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that it is on the dark side.
They've proven it this year.
Yeah.
They've proven this year without a shadow of a doubt. This is now state-sponsored police state activity.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty much the police state was called into question, and then they said there is no question. We believe in what they're doing. We endorse it. It's going to continue to happen. So not only is it going to continue to happen, it's going to get worse. Like in Detroit, they just authorized more cameras all over in these traffic corners that do all the same stuff as Operation Greenlight, which is basically business pays the police department money to put cameras on there, and the cameras help with the response time, in quotations. But what they really do is use it for photo recognition, facial recognition software. So they'll just shoot, that guy, he's got larceny. We better go pick him up because he's sitting there trying to buy a bag of chips or something. But now they got these sound scanners. So supposedly it's supposed to help them detect gunshots.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you throw a giant microphone in the middle of the street and it's to quote-unquote detect gunshots, I'm pretty sure it's going to end up detecting a lot more than gunshots.
Yeah. Yeah, so, no, I mean, there's only so many gunshots for it to detect with it doing the rest of the time.
Yeah, so they don't need to. So not only are they sitting there at pretty much all the street corners and whatnot, throwing cameras everywhere, but now they're throwing giant microphones to record all these kinds of different activities. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to see what's evolving. And it is feeling like, the empire, from the republic rising to the empire, It's getting crazy, and I don't like it, but it reminds me of like back to that one part in the History Channel special. My dad was walking by because he's a busy man, and he just catches little snippets, and he stopped there, and I was like, Dad, watch this, and they had showed the one part where George Bush was talking about, if you're not with us, you're against the terrorists, and then they showed the one part where he's like, if you're not with me, you're my enemy, and my dad, he's a conservative guy. So he's like, bullshit. That is not cool, man. I'm like, well, I mean, kind of makes a bit of sense. But they did some good artisan activities, the night, what is that? They made fun of it in Spaceballs, and now I can't remember it. You know how they have, like, that camera switch over thing? And then, the one character, Barf, is like, "Oh wow, nice transition," or something like that.
No, I don't actually remember
use
that.
The official terminology for the cut, but
no, I don't actually remember that. But Mel Brooks is brilliant.
Mel Brooks is brilliant, man. Yeah. He made some funny movies.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty cool. They reference George Bush saying you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. And then they reference the Star Wars movie. I don't know the clip you're talking about, but
it's from like at least 10 years ago. This was like a long time ago.
But
like I said, back when they were good and actually talking about history.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that that I don't know why all of a sudden it popped into my head about the Star Wars and the police state, and it just, I mean, if you look at it, and this is the way things break down. There's the light side and the dark side, and you look at the U.S. government. There can't be anyone saying that they're the good guys. I mean, who the fuck is looking at that saying these are the good guys? And all this shit, that these evil doers are doing is being done in our name. So what the fuck are we going to do about it? Are we going to just sit around and let it continue forever?
Some people wish for that, yes. They don't want the gravy train to stop. As long as they're making millions of dollars off of, selling guns to other countries so that way they can go kill each other. And what's the matter? What's the problem? As long as you're making money. Blood's not in your
what
hands,
can possibly
hands,
go?
You got the blood money.
What can possibly go wrong spreading weapons and violence around the world? Come on. Come on.
We're going to create, like, government instability across the world or something.
It's just
create
that
a massive swell for
like,
populist uprising.
it's like you said. It's just the gravy train on that ride is just too hard to resist for a certain element of the population, and that element of the population. I said this the other night, and I believe this wholeheartedly. I believe that if you feel that it's okay to profit from making war, from killing little children sleeping in their beds, you should be taken out and shot. Okay? And I'm not, there's something wrong with you. There's something seriously wrong with you, and it needs to be chopped off from this species as if you have gangrene on a fucking leg. Okay? It's got to go.
All right. So they call it the Old Yeller Act, all right? Take him out back and, looks like Old Yeller was selling guns to the Saudis again. We're going to have to take him out back, little Timmy. But I love Old Yeller.
I'm way worse than that, honestly. I say that, whatever neighborhood those people live in, the entire neighborhood should be drone strike. Again, setting an example setting an example that this is for the people that are coming up behind you. If you think that this is okay, we're going to take your weapons and we're going to shove them up your fucking asses.
Oh, it's made okay, I want to start saying things like the way Eisenhower originally wanted to say this word. I'm going to start calling them the military-industrial congressional complex, because they work with Congress in order to screw us all. It's a collusion factor. There's just a bunch of people that believe making money is more important than peace and having, to have other things to spend money and make money on.
Making rich people money,
like
making rich people money is far more important than making sure people have food. It's the top priority above all else. And that's a sign of a sick society. There's something seriously wrong there. And again, it's like I keep saying, is that the way things are is because it's the way the rich people want that to be.
Yeah.
Because
1% definitely likes things this way.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones that make money when everybody's fighting each other and all that fun stuff. And it's a lot harder to fight for them when you don't have much. When you got to work 40 hours, 50 hours a week just to be able to pay for rent and your kids and crap.
Right. When you're already overworked.
Start a revolution when you can't pay the bills. When
you're already overworked and and there's all this kind of societal opium kind of that goes on, with television and
the distraction engine.
This never ending we can't seem to find any time to make anything happen, but it's not true, because we spend all this time fucking. I'm so disgusted that we spend all this time just trying to make sure that we can stay in our homes.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't be that way. We should be working. If we are this big-brained fucking, top of the food chain on this planet, we should be working to fix all the problems of the world. And what I see happening is the exact opposite.
Yeah, the people who make all the problems are the ones that don't get the blame and also get all the rewards of society's actions.
Yeah,
and it's making things progressively worse. But hey, it's like this one game I like to play. It's old Total. I like to play a lot of Total War games, and there's this one you can legislate taxes, and I decided to let's crank it up. Let's turn it on. Let's see what happens. And I'm like, okay, I'll get some good money. And after a couple turns, and everybody starts getting mad because we're getting taxed. And eventually, people are going to reach a breaking point and start a revolution in all your territories, and then things get bad. And then once they take your capitals, you're in trouble. I don't think it's that simple, but people are going to reach a breaking point if they continue this. So something's going to give.
People are reaching the breaking point. I mean, we all summer long we saw the people in the street. I keep hearing about this big giant march that's supposed to happen in D.C. tomorrow. Is that when it happens? I don't know. There's a big giant march is supposed to be happening. The people are fed up. They're tired of the bullshit. Basically, they just I mean, there's only so much bullshit that you continuously agree. Okay, this is okay. It has to be this way. Okay, has to be bullshit. It has to be this way because of this bullshit. It has to be this way because of bullshit. And then eventually go, hey, bullshit. You know.
Yeah. One day you just stand up and go, no more. And that's when you just turn into like one of those action movie sequences. And I started punching these legislation devices and all these laws. And I took that one act. They tried to repeal the SALT. I went, no SALT for you today, buddy. Boom. Because they're trying to repeal the SALT thing. Cause I guess that's to help. There's a SALT tax that's like affects people that a little bit more wealthier, and we just got help. But Jeff Bezos just make another $1 million, don't we? Tax structure in this country so screwed, but it's all part of their game plan, and that's what we got to do. We got to fight it, Once we stop,
we have to recognize it. We have to recognize it. There's this problem. This never-ending brainwashing somehow that we are the good guys in the world. And the truth is that we, you and I and our neighbors are the good guys in the world. But the problem is our government is fucking pure evil. And it is the sole threat to your personal freedom. China is no threat to your freedom. Iran is no threat to your freedom. The only threat exists in Washington, D.C. and in your local governments. And we must recognize that and just have this extreme prejudice that we hold these people accountable like nobody else that we hold accountable on the planet,
Yeah, I get that. Well, they're just completely sold, paid for, bought out by somebody who makes a lot of money making sure that somebody in Congress has their best interest over the logical choice that should be made. And that's what's been creating a lot of issues, They're turned into puppets. They turn most of Congress into a puppet for some large corporation or another person, Even if they tried to be honest, there's too many other people that are paid not to be honest. So that's why it's like, whenever you hear somebody try to justify lobbying, I just laugh because it's just impossible to justify.
Yeah, it really, it's all about, I have enough money to get the fucking congressman's attention. That shouldn't be how it is. It should be, this issue is so important, it has grasped my attention. And the only way it happens now is if this issue is so important that it has a bunch of money behind it and it got my attention. That's not the way our representatives are supposed to work. They're supposed to hear our voices and our concerns, and they only hear them when they're backed up by a lot of money, and that's a bunch of bullshit that's not going to turn out well.
Yeah, it's not. It's created this situation that we're in that causes everybody in Congress, no matter what party, because parties are just part of the vessels too, and they're all bought out at their own level. And, everybody's bought out, all right? The whole country's pretty much bought out. So, it's hard to justify anybody in Congress at this point. If everybody in Congress left and every incumbent came in as an independent, that would be the best situation. You would see Congress clean up in a decade. But because we got these, these parties and these politicians that are all working for money instead of for people, it's created an empire. That's absolutely true. And all we got to do is find a way to, blow up their Death Star.
Well, I don't want to discuss plans of blowing things up necessarily, but again, we have to, if we can just come together to recognize the real enemy, then actually I think we could be able to hold them accountable. But somehow there's this delusionary thing at programming that says, no, these are the good guys that are looking out for us. There's I just don't see anybody in Washington D.C. looking out for me. I can tell you that for sure.
Well, we gotta come in as basically in the mindset of Stone Cold Steve Austin from now on. DTA, don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody in Congress at this point.
In Congress,
Not
don't
after what
trust
they've been
anybody.
doing.
Don't trust anybody in Congress. I absolutely don't. If they're a politician, don't trust them. If they're a career politician, absolutely just
Definitely
figure
don't
they're
trust them.
lying to you blatantly. But when you say don't trust anybody, I don't think that's true. I basically pretty much trust everybody until they prove me otherwise, except for, again, cops, politicians, these people who can hold something over you. But your neighbors, there's no reason not to trust your neighbors. I mean, like I said,
I get that. I
see
get
the
that.
good. I see the good in people. If everybody in the United States, if all my neighbors were evil motherfucking people, then I really wouldn't care if the government was evil, because then the government would actually be a representative government representing all these evil people. But that's not the way I see it. I see people in my neighborhood, in your neighborhood, in neighborhoods around the world, reaching out to help people who are downtrodden and hurting as much as anybody in the world, and they reach to pick those people up again and again, and
Exactly.
and that is the spirit of who we are, who your neighbors are, who this species is intended to be. And somehow all the leadership acts like there's nothing to do but evil in the world. And I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of those being the people representing me.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Definitely agree on that. So hopefully we'll learn some lessons from all these Star Wars movies. I haven't watched the new ones. I probably never will. But that's okay.
That one I like is Rogue
The
One.
Disney ones?
No, the Rogue One.
What?
If you get a chance to watch Rogue One, I
Isn't
like.
that the one movie that like kind of bombed? So we're not gonna make those kinds of movies anymore.
Oh, I don't honestly know. I don't pay attention to entertainment shit really. But we wound
I
up.
haven't paid attention to much Star Wars stuff since like.
Yeah, no, but we went to see Rogue. See, the reason that I like Rogue One is because all the main characters die, and in my opinion, that's the way a war movie should pretty much always work. Is that all the main characters die, because that's the facts, when you're
Kind of like Game of Thrones.
when you're shooting fire everywhere, every direction, 1,000 rounds a second, and then nobody dies or one person dies. It's just I hate those kind of movies, because it's just propaganda that we can shoot all this fucking violence somewhere and only the bad person died.
Kind of like that Michael Bay movie, Pearl Harbor, where it's like, oh, the only guy that died was a nerdy guy.
Is that right? I don't know that movie. But yeah,
That was all right. Yeah, Ben Affleck. I watched it when I was in high school because we had a school field trip. We're like, okay, field trip. Sure.
Yeah. I watched a movie the other night called Battleship, and it was about aliens attacking and these Navy guys like going up against the aliens and stuff. And I was like, God damn, the Pentagon must have spent like $50 million making that movie at least, dude.
Oh yeah.
But
that's definitely. I remember that. I was like, wow, that's blatant propaganda. Holy crap!
It was enjoyable.
The recruiting numbers for the Navy must be down as fuck, man. They gotta make a whole movie off of a Battleship, a game nobody even talks about anymore. Dude, I had something really like Battleship. It was like, hey, let's make that movie and then get people enjoying. We got new ships coming up, guys.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining, but I'm telling you, the Pentagon had to spend a lot of money making that movie, dude.
Oh yeah, they've been spending money on that. I mean, pretty much that's half the reason why they made Hollywood was because they had to push everything through somehow.
That's
what I've always heard is that there's been a CIA office in the Pentagon or in Hollywood since the 50s.
Oh yeah, no, I mean the CIA is integral to our mainstream media for sure, and that doesn't just include the news. That's the everything. The CIA
they are the PR wing of the government. There's something we need. If there's some bullshit we need to pass by the American people, the CIA is going to figure out a way to lie to everybody. That's their job, after all. I mean, what? Excuse me. I mean, no, they're good people, and they just lie to all the other countries in the world, not ours. Yeah.
Well, that's what their CIA is supposed to be. The CIA is not supposed to be conducting activities inside the United States, and that's the real problem with the CIA. Is that they act like we are part of the enemy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, to the American government, the American people are either the enemy or a useful resource to exploit. Because that's what I hear is like, I remember I found this old picture back in the day of like, they were like, oh, your social security number just makes you like a share in the stock that is the American government. And I'm like, oh wow, so I'm just a piece of stock now. So I guess that's what we are. We're just they're the stockholder and we are the stock, and that's how they look at us. Like, oh, you're just a way to make money for us, and that's pretty much what the way it's become. So that's what I've heard. So,
yeah,
I mean, there's always.
I think it's probably the number is some kind of a ID to tie you to the crimes of the government. This whole, I mean, we can do better. That's the whole thing. We can do better. We deserve better. I don't know people are just so bought into this left-right shit that they're just getting away with so much garbage. It's unbelievable to me.
Oh yeah, that's all I've seen, especially after the election. It's like everybody just went back to it. Democrat versus Republicans, and that's the only way we can change things is for everybody to vote for the one party because they're totally not both thought out. And I can't stand it anymore. I'm just sick of both parties. I'm sick of electoral politics in general. I mean, I thought about it. I was like, I better not vote anymore. Voting sucks. But you know what? Voting does still work. It's just ineffective due to the political environment right now.
Well, the programming
ancient laws and corrupted politicians and all these other individuals. There's so many factors. There's so much crap to clean up. So where do you start?
Well, and that you start like I keep saying, we have to recognize the real enemy, and then hold that enemy accountable, and then we might be able to have a fresh start or some kind of a reset moving forward. Where the Pentagon isn't the top priority in our fucking in our country. We're better people than that.
Now, I guess if there was any problem that would be the root problem of America, it would be the way that, like I said, Eisenhower originally wanted to call it, but was convinced not to. The military-industrial congressional Congress. Or complex, I said Congress.
Yeah.
But they work in cahoots to make sure that they make a lot of money off of guns and that not a lot of other people do. So that way they can sit there and point at them and go, why aren't you trying to make better things out of life? Why aren't you like me? It's like, because, try not to be evil.
Yeah, well, we don't
advocate for peace.
Yeah, we don't want to make money off death and destruction.
No. We don't want to do that. We don't want to make money off of like producing items that will benefit mankind or anything. No, we can't do that. That's a janky ass bullshit.
That's the whole thing.
That's what people in Canada do. No.
I wish, and I know the people in Canada wish that too.
Yeah, I bet. Actually, it would be pretty kick ass.
And that's the whole point. Is I think that's how people really are. It's just they've been programmed into this. Oh well, these guys are on my side. They're better than the other guys, but. The lesser of two evil is still evil, and I'm tired of evil being done in name of good people. And it's more than that. It's more than that. The majority of you people have people coming up behind you. Okay, I don't have people coming up behind me. I'm done. I knew better than that before I got here. It wasn't part of my contract. I don't have anybody that I'm leaving behind when I leave this planet. The majority of you people have a lot of people behind you, and I would think that it would be a top priority what it is that you're not just leaving them, but the future of all of them. You know, because you can't just leave behind $1 million to your children and act like that's gonna get them through just fine in a broken fucking planet. You know?
Yeah, that's right. We got multiple futures that we can choose in this moment in time. We can either choose the good ending, which is the Star Trek ending, or we can choose the bad ending, which is the Fallout series ending where we nuke each other to death. Or we could choose the option C now, which is that cyberpunk game where we just allow corporations to rule over us with iron fist, and they just destroy the planet and make money, and everything's weird looking. But hey, at least we get like robot arms, so that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But we have so many options as a species to either elevate ourselves up and off this planet and maybe into a better way of being as a species as a whole, or we can choose to, blow each other up.
Well, we can
it's really that choice.
We can choose to use up every single natural resource at the fastest pace we possibly can, leaving pollution and a chemical spill trail behind us everywhere we fucking go. Or we can understand.
That's the ending I forgot. The Wall-E ending, where we just leave robots behind to clean up after us.
Yeah, or we can say that that's not.
Sit there and get fat and make robots play golf with us.
I don't know. Robots aren't a thing for me. I know that they're coming. I know that they're here, but it just doesn't seem like a thing for me. Like, I'm not going to be replaced by a robot. So.
Yeah, no, not everything is, but it was a joke where like everybody uses those animatronic things to like get lazy, and they showed like. I don't know if you ever. It's a Disney movie, so I can understand if you didn't see it. But they showed us one part where the captain's like, there's been like 10 generations of people on that ship. So it's been like they show how they get progressively larger because they got used to doing nothing because they don't do anything on the ship. They make the robots do everything, and it was kind of like another. What is the word I'm looking for? It was just one of those message things where they're like, hey, if we just let everything do everything for us instead of us trying to take control of our own lives, and we're just going to get fat and lazy people.
If people get in a rut too, but there's just so much programming that goes along with it. You know what I mean? It's just, and it's like in that V for Vendetta movie, which I love to bring up again and again. There's this when he first comes on television on the public service channel or whatever, he says, I like the rest of you enjoy repetition and monotony as much as anyone. Because it's just so simple. It's so much easier than breaking out of this fucking rut and making fucking happen that's against the fucking flow of everything, No, I'm not going to go the way everything's going. I'm going over here. It takes a huge amount of effort, but if we could come together and not buy into this, division, and then recognize this enemy, that the only thing that's holding us back as a species. This species can do anything it decides to do. This bullshit about climate change, this fucking planet could be the blue-green jewel that it was meant to be over fucking night. If this species decided that's our priority, that we're gonna just grow shit everywhere. But no, that's not, we have to be afraid of climate change. We're all going to die. It's just so much better for the people at the top if you're living in constant fear, and especially fear of shit that you can't do anything about.
Yeah, that's the thing, the fear-based economy. But you're always afraid to do something, so you do nothing about everything. Yeah.
It's just easier, man.
I get that point.
It's
We
just
don't
so
need
much
to defend
easier.
ourselves anymore.
It's not that. It's just so much easier. Oh my God! It's because you're not. It's not just that you're gonna go over this different direction. It's that you're gonna have to fucking bump into all this fucking flow of people that are going a different direction than you, and there's gonna be your friends, and they're gonna be going, "Hey, what are you doing, man? No, we're all going this way." And it's it's like it's this overwhelming thing where you can spend this all this energy fighting, or you can just get over yourself and go along with the direction things are going. And there'll be a lot of talk that says that that's the way it's supposed to be. You're meant to go with the flow, man. Why are you fighting the flow, dude?
Yeah. Why are you fighting the flow of the river? And it's just like a salmon. I'm going up this fucking river. I'm going up this thing. I got some eggs to fertilize. Oh, okay. You go fertilize those eggs, dude.
There's some shit over there I want to see, man. It's this simple. For me, it's always this simple.
That's what I'm talking about. I got too specific there.
There's something over there. I need to go over there, and it's just no matter what else, I need to go over there. And you guys can act like you don't see it or you don't feel it, and that's fine. That's you. But why you got to question me for seeing what I may my truth, whatever,
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like reality is perception. You're going to perceive your reality differently than I'm going to perceive my reality. That's just how our lives work. And once you understand that everybody has a different perception of their reality, it makes things a lot easier to understand in life. It makes it a lot easier to look past all the BS they have out there trying to lie to us.
Yes. So many people
divide.
And it makes it kind of easier to understand all the baggage that so many people are carrying around too, because they've been misprogrammed and they have all this stuff, that's just like weighing them down, and then you want them to fight the flow on top of being weighed down by all this fucking shit, so it's we got to understand. We got to look out for each other, and we have to recognize the real enemy. I don't know how else to put it. That seems like the main thing that has to happen. There's only one true threat to our freedom, and if we would just recognize that, it would make it so much easier for us to come together and move forward, doing the things that need to be done.
Yeah. I don't say this too much, Max, but I'm going to say this. Joe Biden is right. We need to unite. We need to unite. We really do need to unite, but not for the reasons that Joe Biden wants us to unite. He wants us to unite to help the Democrats do the Democrat thing, But we need to unite as American people to create a populist movement that is nonpartisan, or at least as nonpartisan as possible, in order to enact changes outside of the usual establishment politics that will help us create this change. That will be the revolution. That will be the second American Revolution right there, my friend, is a political one.
Well, we need to unite because the forces that we're dealing with now are overwhelming, and unless we stand together strong, we will never be able to overcome them, on our own. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's absolutely right. That's what I mean. We got a lot of people out there in the world that want us to stay this way, and hopefully this year, I should say now, this will be a good year for that change to happen because. All that matters now is fighting a corrupt establishment that is hell-bent on making sure that they stay in power so they can make all the money, and we can't make a lot of it. So I definitely wouldn't mind changing a lot of things, but it's going to take a lot of fighting. A lot of Russell Crowe fighting, that's for sure. If you remember that old South Park episode.
I think it just is a matter of, I don't know how much fighting it's going to take. What I think it's, honestly, I think it's going to take the people coming together, and then not so much fighting as just sitting down and saying no more.
Yeah.
Because if we sit down, look, if we sit down,
ways to fight the a good fight.
No, if we sit down and say, yeah, we're not going to work, yeah, we're not buying anything off Amazon, yeah, we're just going to hang out for the next week. We shut down everything for a week on the fucking planet. That's going to get some people.
Nothing for the next week or so. One day is nice. Like you could shut everything down for a day, and they're like, oh, okay, we got a vacation day, whatever. You shut everything down for a week, and they go, oh my God, we just delayed all these shipments. Oh my God, I'm losing money.
You throw off the schedule of fucking everything.
And just lose their shit.
Yeah, you throw off the schedule of fucking everything, and basically, so that shows who has the real power. See, that shows who has the real power. We don't have to fight. We don't have to stand up and go, no, we just see, look, we took out the Pentagon. No, we just have to sit down. We just have to join together and sit down and say, nah, we're not taking your shit no more.
Yep, that's exactly. Yep. We're not going to take it anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We can't. I mean, there's nothing else left to take. They've already proven that they'll do anything and everything to make sure that the establishment continues to rule over us on behalf of their interests. So we need to start fighting for our interests, or there ain't going to be not much left to fight for. Because they already got most of it.
Well,
so.
there's always going to be.
Look, this year, $1.5 trillion.
No, look, there's always stuff to fight for. Again, this is this thing, like I'm saying about the people. All you people have people that are coming behind you. I mean, there's so much to fight for, and I fight and fight and fight endlessly, and I don't have that. I can leave this planet and not even think about that forever, ever again.
Yeah, that's what I'm in that same boat, so I understand.
So
yeah, I get you, man. I really get you. It's more than just us. I'm thinking about years and years into the future. What ending to our tale do we want? And that's the decision we have to make now and work towards it. So, and because right now is a good time to make the decision to. Do what it needs to be done in order to advocate for the changes that need to be happening outside of the stuff that's going on right now in the political structure. Without all that stuff, then it's a lot easier just to fight with your neighbors than it is to fight, within their game. If you play their game, that's when you already lost.
That's
when going into the Democratic primary, you've already lost. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's once you buy into the somehow that the neighbor is the problem. It's this left-right thing. It's just us against them. It just them is the evil. Them are the evildoers, and that's not your neighbor. Yeah,
no.
So
they want us fighting each other. So that way the people at the top get to sit there and do what they want to do. Because as long as we're not fighting each other, then we can look at the real problem, which is that Congress is bought out.
Well, not just we can look at the real problem, but then we can actually talk to each other about the real problem.
Yeah.
And that's what has to happen. That's why we have to come together. That's what I'm saying about recognizing the real enemy. If we could just talk amongst ourselves, we'd realize that that your neighbors aren't your enemy. There's nobody. It's not Iran. Iran's not our enemy. I mean, what did Iran do to us? I can't remember a fucking thing that Iran did to us. So
it made Israel mad, and Israel mad, right, of course. We can't let down Bibi now.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Like I'm saying,
with Bibi.
Recognize
I'll get this video banned if I start about that guy.
Recognize the real enemy. Recognize the real enemy.
Yeah. The real enemy is that there's moneyed interest taking over everything, every aspect of American life, just like where they can have, because money is power. It's like Scarface, like I said. First you get the money, and that gives you the power, and then you get whatever else you want, including the women if you want the women. But, it is what it is with that. But, yeah, so I just, once you said that Star Wars thing, I'm like, well, I got to call him now. So.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't know about that, and that sounded very interesting. I'm glad you added that in.
Yeah, I'm glad I did, too, because we got to talk about that. Even though I still want to talk about aliens, but we'll say that for when that one thing that somebody snuck into the CARES Act happens.
Yeah, right on. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
In about 100, what is that, 160 days?
We'll
180 days from when the CARES Act passes, we're going to find out a lot about aliens.
I sure hope so, man.
UFOs.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So when that comes out, we're gonna have a nice long chat about the stuff that came out.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
So
I can't wait to play video after video about the aliens, dude. You can count on that.
Oh yeah. Let's have a playlist playing in the background. I saw that beach in the background. That was a pretty nice beach. It was pretty open. Where is that at? Was that like a video you made, or is this something you found?
Most of the videos that we use here are all drone videos from Craig and Sam.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah, it looked like it was some nice drone footage of some beachscape. I'm like, damn, man. I mean, it was so somehow right.
There's a lot.
Here, looking outside, and there's snow everywhere. So
there's a lot of beaches here. There's a lot of beaches here.
You don't have a lot of beaches. I mean, we got some beaches, but like the one beach is closed because the E. coli level won't go down because people are jerks and, they keep thinking you can pour poop water in the water and it'll just go away. No, sorry, guys. It creates E. coli.
Yeah.
That's how that works. But yeah, so that was pretty cool, though. But yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be a fun little discussion.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one very much, D.
Definitely. I'm going to read into that and then check on that. But, I'm taking up enough time. Hopefully, I'm blowing up. Feel bad if anybody's been behind me. So.
It's all good. It's all good.
Appreciate the chat, though.
Hey, it's nice to hear from you, and I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, no, looking like that, too. So, but I have school starting up again next week, so it's going to be kind of tough. But I'll try to call every now and then.
Right on.
So, but definitely when that report comes out, we'll be having a chat. So
Good.
But all right, you be safe out there, Moxie.
Okay.
And I'll keep an eye out on the channel as always.
Good.
You be safe in the meantime.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon, man. Stay cool.
All right, we'll do. You do. Be safe. Bye-bye.
And that's our buddy Baby Zebus. So let's see. I'm getting ready for another bong hit here momentarily. I have another video to play for you. Did I play the Tanya Roberts is Alive video yet? I think we'll play the Tanya Roberts is Alive. Tanya Roberts is alive. I don't care what the reports say, people. Tanya Roberts is alive and kicking. I'm going to play that video for you now while I heat up the bong, and we'll do a bong hit if anybody wants to join me right after the video.
Looking ahead, the balance of power in the Senate could be decided as early as tomorrow as voters head to the polls in 2 Senate runoff races. Republican incumbents David.
This afternoon, the FBI continues to investigate why a man blew up an RV in downtown Nashville on.
The USS Nimitz will stay in the Middle East a while longer.
Looking ahead, the balance of power in the Senate could be decided.
This afternoon, the FBI continues to investigate.
Survey found a small number of chiefs who don't want cameras, including on Mercer Island.
All right, I can't find the Tanya Roberts is Alive video. I don't know where it went. I thought I had it lined up in there. I have it on the list here, but it's not coming up when I play it. So what comes up on number 6? What came up on number 6 where Tanya Roberts is supposed to be? I think it's one we already watched.
This afternoon, the FBI continues to investigate why a man blew up an.
All right, so I have the video about the Nashville bombing. I'll play that for you. I can't find the Tanya Roberts one. But trust me when I say Tanya Roberts is alive. Thank God, thank God, thank God. Okay, so the Nashville bombing, again, in this video, what you'll see is an FBI investigator, retired, talking about, and the reason I say retired is because you'll see this on the news all the time. Is you'll see retired CIA, and they're not retired. They're still collecting a paycheck from the CIA. You can guarantee it. If they're on the news, especially if they're on the news on a regular basis. But Tanya Roberts is alive. That's the report I have. Unfortunately, I can't play it for you at the moment. But the Nashville bombing, again, this was about the FBI, the retired FBI specialist in this video talks about conspiracy. This is a video about Nashville bombing conspiracy theories, and the FBI guy talks about how they're all basically connected to defund the police, you know, and boom, I hadn't even thought about that until that guy said it. But it's like when they say, you know, defund the Pentagon, right? The last time they started defunding the Pentagon, we had, lo and behold, the 9/11 happened. The attacks, the Twin Towers came down, right? So, and the panic, this is the powers that be reminding you how we need to have these people protecting us. And again, the police in Nashville, you know, were notified supposedly that this guy's making bombs in his RV. And this is the simplest way that the Nashville police can remind people how much they need them, right? Right? I mean, it's not the simplest way you would think. I would think they could come up with a better way. But let me see. Hold on. Clip 3.
This afternoon, the FBI continues to investigate why a man blew up an RV in downtown Nashville on Christmas Day. So far, investigators have not been able to confirm if the AT&T building nearby was actually a target, leaving a void for conspiracy theories to run rampant. Reporter Alex Apple tells us why these theories are concerning city leaders.
It's the era we live in now. People will listen sometimes to their friends and family on Facebook before the experts. And speculation about Warner's obsession, maybe a missile hitting the RV that was parked just on where now the white box truck is down there, to everything from an alien obsession that Warner had, all adds fuel to this speculation. The question why Anthony Warner blew himself up on Christmas morning lingers over the investigation like the thick smoke that rose above 2nd Avenue.
That's all speculation. That's all under investigation as far as the FBI has been conducting this, and so they're looking at it, but no additional on the motive.
Chief John Drake's deference on the motive leaves a void that internet conspiracists are happy to fill. You find it in the comments on our Fox 17 Facebook page. We'll never know the real truth, one man writes. Another suggests a rocket hit the RV. There's even a Facebook page dedicated to baseless conspiracy theories surrounding the Christmas morning bombing. But the theory that a missile actually hit the RV is too out there, even for a Facebook page dedicated to unproven theories.
I'd be careful about listening to people with an agenda. You know, those who have an agenda out there to defund the police, they're going to harp on anything that they can and blow it out of proportion, frankly.
Former FBI agent and Metro Council member Russ Pulley isn't alone in his concern over what a lack of trust in institutions means for democracy. Council member Bob Mendez wrote to us, quote, "The conditions that created this environment are national, and it's hard to know how to deal with it. Telling the full truth promptly is probably the best Metro can do."
What I can say, I have the utmost integrity, and that as soon as we found out more, we put it out there.
The FBI has investigated several theories, from Warner's paranoia about 5G to his hunting aliens he felt populated Nashville. And now police are left to defend their investigation and fend off the height of the preposterous.
And that was Alex Apple reporting. City leaders say they've also seen several doctored images of an RV that's not actually Warner's spreading across social media, as well as photoshopped images of the explosion site. Their advice: don't believe everything you see on the internet.
I love the Nashville police chief in there telling you that he has the utmost integrity. You know, generally when you have the utmost integrity, you don't have to tell people that. In fact, generally, someone having the utmost integrity is something you say about someone else, not about yourself. From the way I understand things. Nom 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 nom. Oh, this is what I'm puffing on. If anybody's wondering. It's all nice and golden goo. Let's see. Hello, caller.
Hello, just calling to say hi. I haven't called in a long time. Down here in Texas.
All right, and what's up, Texas?
Oh, nothing much. Just watching your live feed going, it's a good day today. Julian Assange is kind of safe for a little bit longer.
Hopefully. I mean, he's kind of, he's kind of in a shithole being tortured by demons, but it sounds like he might make it a couple more days.
I heard Wednesday that's when they're gonna try to appeal. That's still now. For certain.
They're going to try and get him out of prison on Wednesday?
Well, the United States government, that is when they plan on having the appeals court go through. So they're going to be figuring out if they're going to be able to appeal or not, and if the judge agrees with that appeal or not. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so they're appealing the blocked extradition so that he can be extradited.
Yes. And they're trying to figure out a way to block it. I don't know if they're going to be too successful after other countries have come out and said that they're willing to give them political asylum.
Which is really good news.
But you never know.
It's really good news.
But you never know.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. But you never know with their government. If they've got enough pull, they're going to use it. You know what I mean?
And our government loves to do that.
Yeah. I mean, literally, when I watched the Snowden interview thing, basically it was Joe Biden or John Kerry who called each country who was trying to seek asylum in, telling them that they did it, that they would be in deep trade trouble or something like that. So they pretty much stopped it,
And that's Edward Snowden said that? How recently did he say that?
Basically, he said it on the Joe Rogan show. And he's also mentioned it recently on an interview. I forgot who it was with. I think it was like about less than a week ago, but I already knew about this before. Basically, it was either the guy in charge of the State Department, John Kerry or whatever, or Joe Biden, the VP, that would call and say, hey, look, if you give him asylum, we're not going to be your best buddies in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're on the list.
Yeah. I mean, they literally downed a plane just to get Snowden, and I'm worried about Assange because, he's like the original guy that was trying to find people information, You know what I mean? Basically, when he was younger, the first thing he ever did was expose the Bible of Scientology, put it on the internet, and he's never had friends since, kind of thing.
Well, this is what I've always seen the man as seemingly genuine. I don't see him as trying to pretend or lie or, really coerce anybody into anything. He's just been like, here's the information. This is the information.
Yeah, he's like an information activist.
Yeah.
But he's a legit one where, he's been in prison and he's protested. There's a lot of people out there that are posers that say they want to protect information, or not protect information, but, make information available. You should know your government is knowing, not the other way around.
Yeah, I agree. There's no reason for the government to be spying on every individual. It makes no sense, and it's unsustainable. And it just makes no sense unless you have this fucking evil force where you're worried about people taking you down because or exposing you, like Assange. This is the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is it if this government wasn't evil, then Assange wouldn't be this evil player in the world. He would be be just a journalist doing his job, and he exposed this horrible thing that happened, or all these horrible things that happen, and those are things need to be brought to the light of day so that people can respond and take action. And instead, this evil fucking government puts him number one top of the hit list.
Well, that's because the honest to God fact is our government doesn't like information being available to its citizens. I mean, just look at the history under at least the last 3 administrations. They've gone after whistleblowers. They've gone after people that are not even whistleblowers, like Aaron Schwartz. He was a guy that was an information activist. that was trying to get public studies, like taxpayer funded college studies on the internet, so people could look through them. Studies like, is fracking bad for water?
Yeah.
Well, or is this bad for the environment? Basically, stuff that you would think would be public, but was hidden behind what they call a paywall. And there's just been a constant war on information. And it didn't start with Assange. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it didn't. And it didn't start with the internet either.
Nope, it didn't. Because, if you look back at Ellsberg and all them guys,
Right.
The only reason, that those guys that blew whistles and whatnot, I think the scariest thing about the media today is it's all spoon-fed to us, They tell us, they basically get, like that clip you just had on about Nashville.
Yeah.
Right? And the conspiracy theories surrounding
right.
it. I'm like, okay, well, there is kind of one credible one that I could think of is the NSA Tap Center is there at the AT&T building where they collect the data that comes through the Nashville Center.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe that's a possibility, but they don't even talk about the guy even mentioning that. So it's like, well, then there's no sense of this,
Right, they're not going to talk. They're not going to talk about the conspiracy theorists ever as potential reality in any way. If there's any kind of there, it's always going to be, oh, those are the crazy people. If you buy into that, you're one of the crazy people. That's what they're trying to say with stories like this.
Yeah, well, it's scary also because they're trying to control the narrative. Like, don't trust Facebook. Well, I don't really trust Facebook. Nobody should trust anything they read on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you shouldn't.
But there are people who do, I guess.
Well, the thing is that I have a clip somewhere, and it shows like 7 and 8 year olds, and they're being shown fake news stories and real news stories, and every single time they're able to tell the real news story from the fake news story. And
yeah.
And it's like anybody who's the slightest bit logical thinking, they're going to question, and then they're going to go, yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever, or yeah, this makes total sense. And then they'll investigate it more, But a lot of people it's easy to drop the critical thinking. If you drop the critical thinking, then you just kind of go on to autopilot, and it's just a hell of a lot easier to cruise along and.
Yeah, it's like they're not evil. They're easy emotional states that people use. It's the same thing. They could turn fear into hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Fear. I think hate is an expression of fear. It's because generally speaking, a lot of people hate people that they don't even have anything to do with, never had any contact with, don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And so the only way that they could hate them is that someone has programmed them to be afraid of them for whatever reason, which leads to the level of such an extreme level as to hate. It's really strange. People are extremely suggestible. Humans are extremely suggestible. You know,
they're all about emotion.
Yeah, and they've been so misprogrammed from the time they're little tiny beings, and then they misinformed day in day out to where, like I keep saying, it's just. Even if you had a clue, even if you had half a clue, it would be hard to know which way to turn because there's just so much misinformation. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, and there's also uncertainty in that misinformation. So, like, you can have a little bit of truth in there, and then the rest of it's misinformation. It's just. I worry, I'm just watching things go down right now, and I'm worried. You know what I mean?
About what?
The whole Biden thing, the election, I don't trust Biden. I never have.
Yeah, he's a professional politician who has a career, history of doing horrible things against the general public. Yeah.
Well, people also dismiss a lot of the things that people don't know. I mean, I mean, basically, what I mean is, like, there's things that he's done that nobody even knows. You know what I mean? Like, he literally went to another country or used the State Department to pressure another country into passing copyright laws so he could literally raid somebody's house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was that Kim.com mega upload thing that happened when the leakers were starting to use mega upload for leaking documents. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They used copyright laws. They changed the laws.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, and again, this is the thing about the recognizing the real threat to all of us. It's not China. You know, I mean, sure, China has their issue, their priorities too, but the real threat to our freedom and the evil that's being done in the world day in, day out is being done by our government and the people at the top of our government, and they seem to be solely in their own best interest, you know, and the interest of rich people. It never is about actually protecting America or doing what's in the best interest of the general public. And it's so sad.
It's like when you just mentioned on that video you were watching, I was listening to you and you were saying, like, they knew this guy had these things. They knew that he was going to do this, but they didn't do anything about it.
Well, they had reports that supposedly his girlfriend had told the police that he was making bombs inside his RV. You know, and they said the reports that I understood is that they looked at the RV, they couldn't see inside, and they couldn't see any wrongdoing going on, so they just dismissed it. I mean,
I don't buy that.
Yeah, no, of course not. That's it. That's like you instantly contact the FBI, and then what? The FBI, and then the whole thing is that all these motherfuckers, you know, paid professional police or whatever, they say he wasn't on anybody's radar. You know, give me a fucking break.
It's like the Boston bomber, remember?
Yeah.
They knew that guy was from a region. Russia warned us, said these guys were radicals. They didn't watch them. They blew up some people. You know what I mean?
That's not the way that went down. But yeah, I understand. They knew who these people were, and
yeah, I don't remember exactly the details, but I remember it's the same thing. They were warned. Nobody did anything about it, and it ended up in the result of people getting hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was horrible. It was another. If you look into it really closely, what you'll see is it's another horrible false flag operation in the United States, and those guys are being used as patsies.
Well, isn't that always the case? I mean, if that's the case, I don't know. I didn't hear about that. But whatever. There's things I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, those guys, they ask, there was this one witness in the situation of those guys that were like his best friend, the older brother's best friend. They had done like a lot of martial arts training together and stuff, and the FBI went to his house to interview him, and there was like 7 fucking sheriffs or something like that, and like five FBI guys, right? And the guy winds up dead in the middle of the interview. And originally they said that he pulled a ninja sword off the wall and started swinging it around like he was going to kill people. And then we find out that it wasn't a ninja sword; it was a fucking broom handle. And
wasn't that in Florida or something like that?
Yeah, it was in Florida. It was in Florida. That's correct. And then they try and tell us there's all these fucking professional lawmen in the room interviewing this top fucking guy over this fucking terrorist event that just happened, and nobody's got a single recording, not one, no video, no audio, no nothing. Oh yeah, he tried to attack us with a samurai. He tried to attack us with a samurai sword. Absolutely no reason to say that. They could have said, yeah, he pulled out a fucking 4-foot pole and started swinging it around. We couldn't do anything, so we shot him. But no, it was a samurai sword. What's that?
And then you have all these guys in the room with them with probably tasers and guns.
Yeah,
that pole is nothing.
Nothing.
So either technically they could use they could probably use a taser on him and he's down right there.
The majority of them are going to be 6 foot plus, and you know what? You take a hit from the pole and you take the pole away from the guy. You know?
Yeah, grab it right out of his hand.
Yeah. Okay. Is there more that you wanted to do, sir? Or should we actually restrain you so that we don't have to worry about this? Because that's the whole thing. You know, it's just, and I think all the fucking bullets that they fired were fired into his back. I'm pretty sure. You know, and like 7 shots or something. And it's just.
I didn't know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I knew the background of it, basically, the story you mentioned about.
And you know, and all these people, right, they're about this one part of the story. This guy that was their best friend, their older brother's best friend, blah blah blah, workout buddy. The one part of the story, they're like, gee, I wonder what that guy said to them. To the police, to the FBI, right? And I can tell you exactly what he said to them. They said, "What did he tell you? What did he tell you? And he looked them in the eye and he said, "He told me they were working for you." And then they fucking killed him.
That's highly likely.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? You know, the first rule of what do they call it? The first rule of an assassination is you kill the assassin at the end, right?
You know, dead men tell no tales.
Yep, exactly. Well, that also works too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm just worried about the whole thing with Biden, and I'm watching the breakdown on the left right now when it comes to politics. You've got people that were voted in to demand certain things, not doing those things.
Yeah.
You
had that both on the left and the right. I mean, you know, it's people. This is what I keep talking about. Is that these people who call themselves representatives aren't representing anyone in the working class, as far as I can tell.
You know. Yeah. And I watched a video recently about how they use Congress members in different order, so that way the blame never gets focused on one Congress member. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I worry because, like, we have COVID-19 going on, right? And you have supposedly a new strain that's worse than the first one. I don't go anywhere, so I try not to get sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm worried that I'm worried about a really bad crash on top of the pandemic.
Well, I can hear you. I that's something but go ahead. Let me finish your thought. Go ahead.
Okay. I worry that, like, you know, there are other governments in this world that have given their people money to kind of hold on to what they own, right?
Right.
Like, let's say their house. I
heard Canadians are getting $2,000 twice a month, every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know twice a month, but that's interesting. Yeah. But, you know, and then they give us $1,800 in 9 months and say you're on your own.
Yeah.
You know, and if I know anything about Joe Biden, I know there's going to be cuts to social programming or programs like Medicare and Social Security.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to do anything when it comes to the stimulus. He's already kind of tweeted basically, watch your own butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not, again, he's a professional politician who's been in office for over 40 years. And I mean, again, all that I could ever point to him doing is negative things for our society. He helped George Bush walk us into a war completely based on lies in Iraq, you know.
And the bankruptcy bills and crime bills.
Right,
and
exactly.
all the other bills, Patriot Act, why not?
Right. Exactly.
But he scares me in a lot of ways, but I worry that it's going to be a total failure under him with the pandemic, and he's not going to understand what's really wrong.
Well, okay, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something real quick. Is that since 9/11, since September 12th, right, 2001. One of the big things that I heard over and over again, and that people have pointed out that you have to be afraid of, is that there's going to be an economic crash, right? Which eventually there probably will be, but but it's this thing that's hyped, and it's meant to make people very, very uneasy. So and I've always, from day one, the number one message at Mox News has been don't buy into the fear, so especially the hyped fear. So, and I'm only telling you this to try and help alleviate, because real fear like that, living with that fear every day about the economy crashing and people standing in bread lines and stuff like that, can be incredibly.
It's already happened. Yeah.
No, I'm saying just the fear of it. Yeah, right. I see it with the COVID and everything, the bread lines, so to speak. But it's the economic crash again. This is something they talked about. The dollar is going to collapse from 9/12. They've been talking about that, and then the hyped up fear with the COVID. It seems like has just been so overblown. That it's just they want you so terribly afraid of your neighbor. That my main message just comes back to this, don't buy into the fear. I'm not saying that COVID doesn't exist.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I'm not saying that COVID doesn't exist. I'm not saying not to be smart against, protecting yourself. I'm just saying don't buy into the hyped up fear that,
usually if they're trying to get you all like worked up, they're doing something else they don't want you to see, and that's the truth of it.
That's what I keep thinking about. Like I mentioned the other day, I don't know if you know the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but
I know it.
Yeah, when the aliens come down and the government's going to have their big meeting with the aliens, they have like a train derailment, and the train derailment, it releases a gas, and they have to evacuate the area. So it's like, oh, nobody look over here. There's really nothing going on, so I hear what you're saying when it comes to when it comes to the COVID. I hear what you're saying. I really worry about that they've got everybody, the news, doing 55 minutes about COVID-19, and you have to wonder, what it is that's going on in the background that they don't want us to see. So I hear you.
Yeah. It's like it's like when like Assange's case, right? I haven't heard nothing about it in the U.S. news yet, right?
Yeah.
But yet, COVID-19's all over the front page.
Yeah,
it's always a distraction.
I was kind of surprised not to see more about Assange somewhere. I expected to see it there's these little outlying news, like there's a news service called Newsy, and there's like these little news services that are popping up, and I really expected to see it somewhere, Bloomberg, something like that, and I'm just not seeing it yet.
You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
It's the way the judge ruled. He agreed with most of the arguments that the U.S. prosecutors laid before them. But the reason why he didn't get extradited is because our U.S. prison system is so bad that he wouldn't get. Plus, the Espionage Act is kind of a red herring. That's only for U.S. persons or citizens. It's not for a foreign national. So, I think what happened there was it made us look really bad, and they don't want people talking about it. They see that ruling as basically, oh my God, they didn't extradite him because our prisons are that bad,
Yeah, if nothing else, the mainstream media in this country loves the fucking for-profit prison industrial complex. Sure.
The industrial prison complex is scary. I live in Texas, so there's like a prison every 30 miles.
Wow.
And it's all private prisons, not public, like publicly ran prisons like there used to be.
Yeah.
And that's scary, for a place like I live, because everybody has a job. Everybody knows somebody working at the prisons, or the corrections.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's scary.
Well, yeah, man. Where I live in Texas, there's 3 prisons within probably 60 miles of me.
Wow.
And one of them is where they literally kill people. So the one in Huntsville. So the prisons and the media, I really don't like them guys, because
Yeah.
I remember something a long time ago that I was told by an old ham radio operator when I was like 13 years old, growing up in Everett, the local TO area. And he said, never trust the news. Try to use the shortwave radio. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
Even this is back in like 1990 or something. He's like, don't trust it. Anything you hear is probably not real.
Yeah. Well, it's
That
just
was a little telling.
It's the controlled narrative, you know. They're the ones, you know, saying, "Oh, well, this is what we're gonna let you know," you know. This is
Yeah. They give you the narratives are preset. You know, you watch, everything's framed in a certain way. I really don't trust. I don't watch a lot of news today. I read a lot of news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I try to watch what I read, because I also know that there's a lot of people out there that are going to try to push their opinions into their work, you know?
Yeah, well, there's, I mean, it's even worse than that. You know, there's people who you know, push, you know, the buying gold and silver because, you know, they or the sphere of the economy collapsing, the dollar collapsing because they want gold and silver to go up because they're heavily invested in gold and silver, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that is only a good investment if the dollar tanks. I mean, seriously, that's all gold is and silver is. The only way it's a good investment is if the dollar tanks. And as long as the Fed keeps pumping money and protecting the dollar, it's not going to go. You know, it's just, like you said, it's an illusion. You know what I mean?
It's this fear that's hanging over all of us that they threaten us with daily, basically. That there's, you know, oh, what happens if the economy collapses? But, you know, that doesn't, I don't think that really is going to benefit the rich people the way, you know, like Jeff Bezos, you know, I think that would, you know, fuck with Jeff Bezos. So not that he could, you know, not that he could stand to lose, you know, $100 billion or whatever, and it wouldn't affect his lifestyle in any way.
Isn't he like the richest guy in the world or something now?
I think so, but I'm not sure. I don't really.
I know I think he's richer than Bill Gates, and I was like, wow, you know.
I'm pretty sure he's richer than Bill Gates. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Windows was a wonderful operating system, but a lot of people don't use it anymore. I wanted to also call you to tell you that the reason why I haven't called in the last few months is because I got hit with a tornado.
Wow. I can't imagine.
When I first started talking to you, it was right before, it was in the middle of the primary, it was around April, and I was calling the show every other night or, you know, once a week or something, and I got hit with a tornado during a pandemic.
Yeah, wow.
And if you want to rent a motel room right now, you cannot in Texas, unless you have an essentials worker document.
Wow.
Yeah, so right after we got out of our house.
So they have a major lockdown in all of Texas. You're not able to basically do anything. I mean,
it depends. Well, I don't know if that's the way it is. You know, because I think back in April it was like the full-fledged lockdown.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the same now. But it was like a double whammy. All these things coming together at one time. It was kind of hard. And I just wanted to tell you that, you know, I got hit by a tornado.
Sorry to hear that, dude. I can't imagine what that must be like. You know.
It was scary and just, yeah, it's just kind of creepy. And I had my kids with me and my wife. It was her birthday. We're all sitting in the hallway, huddled up. It was the front of the house was peeled like a banana. There's videos of the tornado as it's hitting our house on the end. It's funny. Well, not funny, but we live on the other side of the lake, and there was video being taken from webcams and security monitors facing where we lived. That was one big tornado. It was an EF4, they call it.
That giant, yeah.
But, yeah, I just wanted to call and say what's up and talk about Julian Assange, and I hope he gets out of there. You know, I hope he's able to. I don't think he's going to be able to leave the UK. I honestly don't think he is, because his passports are no good anymore.
Yeah.
And just like Snowden, when they denied his passport in Moscow, he got stuck in Moscow, right?
Yeah.
So I think Julian Assange might be out of prison if he wins on Wednesday, but he'll be stuck in the UK. He won't be able to go even to places where he thinks he could seek asylum because the United States government probably stopped him mid-flight.
We'll see.
Even though they lost their extradition case.
I hope that I hope that he just doesn't have to be fucking locked up anymore, dude. I mean,
I know, but look what happened to Chelsea Manning.
Yeah.
I mean, that was torture.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's torture.
Absolutely. I
was in jail when I was like, I haven't been in jail since I was 19 or 18, I think it was. And they said I was a suicide risk, so they kept me in what they call 72-hour like high watch lockdown.
Yeah.
Which means I had like 30 minutes outside my room. I was alone to dwell on my own thoughts. And I'm like, wow, this is just horrible. You know what I mean? This guy had it for like months, you know.
Yeah.
But,
I'm sure it's taken.
Right,
I'm sure it's taken a heavy toll on Julian. I really hope that he gets out soon.
I know he looks so sick. He does look sick.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the photos of when he got in there and what he looks like now, he does not look good.
Yeah. I hope he gets out soon. I hope because I hope he gets to hang out with his parents. I know his parents really are missing him a lot. You know.
Yeah.
So.
I know, man. I was watching the live feed out of the UK early this morning to see if they were going to release him right away, and I was hoping, because but you take care, and I'll talk to you later.
I hope so. I hope don't wait so long to call again.
I'll try not to get hit by a tornado again. Okay.
Okay. All right. Stay cool, man.
I'll talk to you later.
See ya. All right, so if anybody wants to call, the number's there on the screen. It's 805-669-6397. I have a video about Julian Assange being released from, not released, but a UK judge has blocked the extradition of Julian Assange. So we'll play that for you in just a minute. Hello, caller.
Hey, what's up, Mike? It's T-Bomb Star Brandon, man. How you been?
Hey, Brandon. I've been okay, thanks. How about you?
Oh, man. I'm from Nashville, and so that kind of bothered me what that fucking idiot did.
Yeah.
We was all worried because of, I think, like the next day there was another idiot that he had a U-Haul. And he was riding around playing the same music that was being echoed from that RV.
Yeah.
It kind of didn't make a lot of the headlines, but it made the local headlines.
I saw that story. I saw that story. They shut down. He shut him down on the freeway, and they.
Yeah, man. And for the longest, there's been a lot of people who have written books about, I don't know, you can call it from, just people about, conspiracy type people. But what I want to say is that I think the whole conspiracy about 5G comes from China. And the reason why I say that is because they know that we are a very fragile society. And if someone can start a rumor like flat Earth, okay, or four-leaf clovers bring you good luck, and if you follow a rainbow, you'll get a pot of gold. That's where we are now. You know what I'm saying, Mike? We're that fucked up. But I look at the 5G situation is that if China can say that, 5G is going to give you this, give you that, like Donald Trump said, windmills give you cancer.
Yeah.
If you go about that and you spread it to idiots, to be honest, then China's not going to have that much competition when it comes to technology. China done launched, I think a few weeks ago, I was reading that they already launched a 6G satellite in space.
Huh.
But I think a lot of people don't comprehend, about that type of technology. It's really, really what it is. It's just more data. It's going to process faster. It's like if you got a slow laptop, you put more ROM in it, or if you want to save more information, you get a terabyte or a couple of terabytes, and I just think there's so many people that just, never, not to say you need a higher education, but if all you want to buy is a Ford, then that's all you're going to buy. Meaning, that certain people don't want to adjust. That's why you got the idiots. I've seen pictures of people with trucks parked in parking spaces that were charging stations out there in California for, cars that need to charge.
Yeah.
Just to piss them off.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, whenever they say, go back to the old ways or take America back, bring what the hell ever, make it great or whatever. You've got to be on top of technology.
Infrastructure, baby. It's all about infrastructure.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think I've said it a million times in my life, which I'm exaggerating about a million times, but if the guy who was laughing at the Model T because he had the contract to clean the city up and go scrape up the horse shit at night, yeah, look at him now. The Model T was technology, and that is something that, unfortunately, the federal government hands are tied because of who the president is right now. But I hope that these alphabet letter agencies, the FBI or whatever, whenever Biden gets in office, they go in and they start, infiltrating those groups, which I'm pretty sure they already have. But with this administration we got, they are his supporters, and he's not going to attack them. Are you hearing a lot of stuff about? Are you in the Nashville area?
Yeah.
And are you hearing a lot of stuff about 5G and stuff? Are you listening to Nashville news, Brandon?
Yeah. And what it is, it's just that's like the headquarters of the old Bell South. If you look at a picture of Nashville, there's this tower that looks like Batman. It looks like a Batman tower. That was the old Bell South Tower. Okay.
Yeah.
And you got the Verizon building, and but that man did that destruction to that portion of the city, which is a couple of blocks. But Verizon lost probably hundreds of millions of dollars when it comes to having to redo their infrastructure. We was calling people back home, Mike. They had no internet. Their cell phones were down if they had that type of service. And when the powers that be, this is going to be a message for all the billionaires and all the people where they, give their money to lobby. Because if you look at what happened in 9/11, the reason why you got the Patriot Act, because every company said that was in the World Trade Center said, no, we can't have this. Saying federal government, you got to protect us. And that's where that bill came from. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some policy changes to certain things. And I know that Trump was trying to, get that regulation removed or change it about the internet companies and things like that, because it was written such a long time ago, I think back in the 90s, way before Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. And at first glimpse of what he was trying to do, I was like, well, I think he just wants to, when he leaves office, is just sue Facebook, because Trump sues everybody. That's how he rose. But when you look at, if you listen to the 60 Minutes stuff that aired on Sunday, it was like the parents of the kids who were murdered in Sandy Hook, and people was making money off of YouTube videos saying that, they was actors or kids wasn't real, whatever. So I think there's going to be some type of reform to that policy, not necessarily if I say something on Facebook about whatever that I can get sued, but obviously I think we have a very large population of men who are disappointed in their lives and they want to blame somebody, Mike. Period. I don't think it's just
at the end-
men. I don't think it's just men. I think that's part of the programming too, Brandon. Is that you're programming to believe, oh, one day I'm gonna have all this stuff. I mean,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
all
I'm gonna go to college and be rich.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, fill your eyes,
And-
full of fucking dreams, and then
Yeah.
it's not there.
Yeah,
So.
and I'm going to live in my same hometown of 30,000 people and be a millionaire, which is not going to happen. There's no jobs in that town, But I really think that if the government doesn't get a hold of these conspiracy theories or these theories, that it's going to get worse. Like, I'm pretty sure you heard about the white pickup truck in Pittsburgh that was riding around throwing bombs out the window and they was blowing up, So the cops in Pennsylvania, they got a picture of the truck, the guy throwing stuff out through security cameras. And this is pretty dangerous, because you can just get blowed up going to work. But if you look at, when the guys drove from Dallas to El Paso and killed 20-something people in a Walmart just because they was brown or Mexican or whatever, it just shows you how fragile our society is. We're not strong as we think we are. Just because, we create a lot of manly things, or a lot of Americans win championship titles, or UFC, or or the World Series, the Super Bowl, blah 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 blah. We're a very fragile society. We're not who we really think we are.
No, no. I like I keep saying. I really think that it's like the U.S. government is almost like the evil empire in the Star Wars movies. They're just this police state that just keeps getting worse and worse, and somebody's gonna have to stand up against it.
Well, I think we are. When you look at what Congress is going to send to the Senate about marijuana, the Republicans know that it's a very unpopular topic to sit here and keep jailing people when taxpayers are paying people to stay in jail. There's people that's doing life in prison because they got busted selling, like drugs 3 times in a row and never harmed a fly.
Yeah.
And when those governors get in there now and they're looking at their balance sheet and they're like, damn, like we're in the hole, which is damn near every state in America, except for your top 4, California, Texas, New York, and Florida. Those are the states that, bring in the billions of dollars, or the trillions of dollars. But states like Mississippi don't even bring in $100 billion. And I Googled all this when it comes to how much each state makes. And it's weird how, like, West Virginia is so adamant about coal mining, coal. But West Virginia's like 49th or 50th on the list of poor, and it flip-flop with Mississippi year after year.
Huh.
So it's not like the coal industry is doing anything for the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
And that's all, man. I just want to touch base with you and check on you. I'm glad you're up and running. How's your health situation coming? Did you ever figure that thing out, man?
No, I'm going to the neurologist tomorrow to talk with him about if he has any more information for me. But so far, I have no clue as to what's happening. The medication that they have me on seems to be working. I've been taking the dogs for longer walks, so I'm feeling more confident.
Good.
Yeah, I feel more confident about not having to worry. I'm just the only thing. It's not me that I worry about. Is putting the dogs into harm's way. That if something was to happen,
you told me that last time.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, for me, it's unexpected, and it's really strange thing to have happen out of nowhere. But whatever. I have very little expectations of outcome here. I'm kind of surprised that I've been able to continue doing what I've been doing for as long as I have. So.
Well, Mike, I tell you, man, when you was out personally, I missed you. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you're back and you're up and running.
I'm always glad.
man,
I'm always glad to hear from you, Brandon. It's really nice to hear your voice and know you're out there in the audience, and it's always good to hear you say hi. So.
Oh yeah, man. But yeah. Honestly, I think the whole 5G conspiracy thing is just the Chinese and trying to make people reluctant to go to it. Again, America is losing to. America's not doing well with competition, and that's why we're losing some of our clout across America because other countries are now getting clout. This is something that's bothered me, and I'll say this. I talked to my buddy the other day, and he's a very religious guy. He was like, well, Biden's not going to be president that long.
I don't think Biden's going to be president very long either.
Yeah.
I keep saying that on this program also, Brandon.
Yeah, but when there's nothing wrong with saying it or even believing it, but when you say it in a way like it's going to be a woman's going to be a president, and then you throw on a black woman's going to be president, that's what bothers me. Is I'm like, well, if Trump would have died of corona, and if someone's a Trump supporter, how much confidence would they have in Pence? And I'm pretty sure they would have a lot of confidence in Pence.
Yeah, well, I'm not concerned about a black woman. I'm not concerned about a woman being president. I'm not concerned about her being black. I am on the other hand very concerned about Kamala Harris being president.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, listen, but this is something that can really be crazy because if I didn't live in California. I don't know what her record was really, but obviously she was a stern prosecutor when she was DA.
She's very pro police state, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of these idiots, like the guys blowing themselves up, I think that she's going to, point the Department of Justice / the Alphabet Agency into that direction to crack down on that type of shit. And that's where it gets scary to me because you get a felon, you can't vote, you can't own a gun. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And I just hope that, there's going to be some idiots out there. You can weed them people out. But just don't make stupid laws like we have now with the Patriot Act where they can spy on us. That's my biggest concern with her. That's just it.
We got to walk that Patriot Act shit back, man. That was done in a hurry after fucking the biggest terrorist event of all time on America. It's time to go, hey, this isn't what's happening. We need to, chill things the fuck out a little bit and let people not be so stressed out. And because that's the hardest thing is that, it's just, they seem to want us, stressed and worried and full of fear, and I think that only leads to people to being sick, it's like it opens the door to all kinds of illnesses and stuff. So we deserve much better leadership than that. That's for sure.
Oh well, I honestly wish that that we'll all be really judged on the same level playing field and get the same opportunity as everybody else. And I understand there's kids out there like my kids. I have 5 of them, and 2 of my twins are grown. One's in Fresno. And
Fresno? How the fuck they want?
Where you from? Yeah.
Fresno.
She's doing well, Mike.
Oh,
doing
yeah?
well out there.
Oh, that's good.
She's buying a house. Her house is being built. She sends me videos. And the kids.
My sister lives there. Can't get her to move away.
But I don't like the fact that, that a kid that's born in a certain neighborhood or born with a certain poverty line, unless they're a gifted individual, they'll never make it out. Meaning, there's no opportunity for them. And that's something, because I know quite a few people that work for Amazon, and Jeff Bezos' Amazon don't want no union, and they have like data whenever you go to work. Their data monitors your phone, and they track your phone when you're off work, and they see where you go.
Huh.
There's a lot of information out there about that, and it's because he doesn't want to deal with unions. But he pays his people decent. He hired over 400,000 people this year. Well, last year.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, he made $18 billion in one day.
Yeah.
And he gave his ex-wife, I don't know how many, billions of dollars.
She got a lot of money.
Oh, man, I tell you what I wouldn't get to run up on that. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I don't want to speak for my wife, so she may come downstairs and yell at me. I don't think she'd be mad. You know what I'm saying? She'd be like, all right, okay, baby, you go ahead. You bring some money back.
I just think she, from what I heard, she got him through a really hard time for him, and that she looks like a nice person, and she's hot as fuck. So.
Oh, and plus he's donated I don't know how many millions of dollars here recently. During this whole $300 million, what I was reading online or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something. It's on there for your listeners just to Google and look up. But yeah, man. Hopefully, we can get a control of some type of sanity. Because I listened to the Trump speech tonight, and again, his speeches are hilarious, and I was rolling.
Yeah.
I don't really have a concern for Biden being president. I think that he's just trying to bring, okay, everyone calm down and give me 2 years and I'll be 80 and I'll leave, or I'll make it to 4, and then it's a coin toss, whoever wins the next election. But we need some form of.
But it shouldn't be a coin. It shouldn't be a coin toss, Brandon. What it should be is, after 4 years of him and Kamala Harris being in the White House, people should go, "Oh my God, there's no one else we want leading us than Kamala Harris." You know what I mean? Because they showed that they took the opportunity and they ran with it, and they did everything they could for the American people. The American people, after 4 years of seeing what they've done, should be like, "Oh hell yes, this is exactly what we've been waiting for." But it's never like that. It's always who the fuck did Donald Trump beat? Who the fuck? Hillary Clinton, right?
Hillary.
Hillary Clinton should have been able. If Barack Obama had been 1/10 of what they're going to say the legacy of Barack Obama is, if he had just done 1/10 of what they give him credit for, then Hillary Clinton should have been able to just skip and tra-la right into the White House. But because Barack Obama and Joe Biden were shitty occupants of the White House, the next Democrat coming behind them couldn't win. So,
yeah.
Even though she's one of the most despised people in American political history, she still should have been able to make it if they had done their job. The people that came before her. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's. And what I didn't like about that situation was the same thing that I didn't like about the Bushes. Your daddy was president. Your husband was president. Why do you feel you have to be president? That's something that bothers me. That, to me, is a monarchy, to where all these names that are, these descendants of this legacy
will always, be next in line.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I honestly, here in St. Louis, we had someone who won in Congress. I forget her name, but she beat, she's a black lady. She's a single mother. She won a congressional seat from a guy that's been there for 30 years. And she beat a black man.
Yeah.
And she was her job was a nurse. Corey something, I think the name is. But not Cory Booker, that's guy from New Jersey. Or something like that. But anyway, I want to see, something new come to the table. Because whenever you keep with the Nancy Pelosi's, the Schumers, the Ted Cruz, the people, the Mitch McConnell, the people who's been there forever, nothing really never changes.
You can't, and it would be stupid to expect anything to change from a professional political class that has been in office for decades. Why would anything new all of a sudden happen from the people who've been basically the gatekeepers keeping anything from happening for the last 20 years, Yeah.
So, it's just like how that marijuana bill passed in the Congress when all those senators pretty much was congressmen first, right?
Yeah.
And now they're senators, but yet they was the ones, writing the law to put people in prison. Or whatever the case may be, and to take people's freedoms away from smoking a fucking plant.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a big weed guy.
Yeah.
I didn't smoke weed till I was 39 after I retired from the military.
Yeah.
But that just shows you that now, because the prison system was telling them you got to vote against that because the prison system creates jobs. Wherever there's a prison at, there's a community. People can send their kids to college. People can pay for a mortgage, car note. It's good for the economy.
But it's not just that. It's that thing that we can hold over these bad people, too, because only bad people use the marijuana. Like the minorities. They like the marijuana. So it's this whole fucking, again, this evil doing thing. It's not just, we're trying to do the right thing by our community. It's like, we can shit on these people and nobody will say anything because they're the lowest members of society. Nobody's going to care. Nobody gives a shit about it.
You know what? Yeah, well, whenever you're poor, no one does care.
Yeah.
But what I did like, I did like how I don't like to put an R and a D by anyone's name, like how you said, but how the Senate wouldn't even bring to the table of $2,000 checks, and there's a lot of poor people who really need this money because of their job. They could be a waitress and now they're only getting 20 hours a week instead of 40 or something like that, right?
A lot of people don't have jobs anymore, too, because of it. So yeah.
Well, a lot of those jobs not going to come back,
right?
Unfortunately, but for someone to sit here and to pass bills to give corporations big money to help rebuild another country, but we can't get an infrastructure plan, right? We can't get broadband in rural areas, which all that money goes back into America. If I pay a ditch digger to build, a ditch to put broadband down, he's going to take that money. He's going to be able to pay for his mortgage, his car note, buy groceries in American stores and American companies and American banks.
Yeah.
Brent,
look, I've said again and again, the most important thing that this government could possibly do is start a gigantic 21st century infrastructure project, putting millions of people to work at good paying jobs. It's gonna benefit society from one end of the country to the other, and then it's going to actually make America great because we have a 21st century infrastructure when everybody else is dealing with a 20th century infrastructure.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's like, we get caught up in this pissing contest of the basic bullshit.
Left, right.
Upon.
Yeah, we get
when
caught
it
up
comes
in
to religion, LGBTQ, abortion.
Right. Any way they can
whatever.
divide us. Any way they can divide
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, to me, none of that shit makes fucking money, to be honest with you.
It doesn't make the society that anybody wants to live in. I don't know why you would get caught up in shit like that when, you know, how can you possibly want to live in a society where, oh, these people aren't welcome, or they're the wrong religion, oh, those are the wrong religion people, or whatever, you know, I mean, fuck you. You know, I mean, let's move forward and actually try and build a world that we can all fucking enjoy and participate in.
Yeah, you know, I look at it the same way with just a different analogy. It's like when the South had segregation and they would make people build a bathroom just for black people.
Right.
Or a water fountain, right? It would cost more money, whatever, or a school that's just for black kids, you know, costs more money whenever you could just be like, oh, no, everyone can use the same bathroom. Shit looks the same no matter how you look at it, right? You know, and all the kids need to learn the same, because we got to invest in our future, and our future is infrastructure. It's in education. But for some reason, people are hell-bent on just the smallest shit. Like, I have discussions with people who talk about guns, and I'm like, dude, the Constitution, we can have guns, and it done with the Supreme Court years ago. We're fine.
Right.
No one can take your gun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's it. Can they put a little more background check on you? Yeah. Like, have you been arrested 20 fucking times and you're 50? Maybe you don't need a silencer or a fully automatic weapon, motherfucker. Maybe you just need a shotgun to go hunting or whatever, you know, or 30-06. But that's not gonna stop the violence, because the violence comes from the illegal guns. So, but we're not investigating how
the
these
violence,
people get illegal guns.
The violence comes from people who don't care about the law.
No, hands down, absolute, that and poverty. Yeah.
So, and I think, like you're saying, the poverty, the desperate people, you know, if they just stop, you know, if they'd help raise these desperate people out of desperate situations, there'd be far few people turning to crime and to other things, you know, that's going to lead them down the wrong path. And it would probably cost so much less than, you know, all this prison time and all this fucking crime and all these other things, these elements in society, just to fucking lift them up, you know, just to give them $1,500 a month or whatever, you know, to keep them so they have a home and they have food, you know.
Oh yeah, I think the war in Iraq is going to run us up to like $3 trillion or $5 trillion when it's all said and done with. And if you look at that, that's only a fraction of what you would need to be able to fix these certain communities or certain states like West Virginia, where there's nothing there,
right,
but, you know, a hole in the ground. And if you don't want to go get you know, you got to go. That's the only job.
I thought they had like really pretty beaches in West Virginia. Don't they have?
No, West Virginia's not on the coast, man.
Oh, okay.
Because it's connected to Maryland, and Maryland's connected to Delaware. And then West Virginia is kind of in between them two, and Pennsylvania and Virginia. Yeah, so it's not a coastal front. I've been through there multiple times. I've been to Camp Dawson, which is a military camp, small military base where a lot of special forces and special operations got trained because of the hills, you know. But yeah, I mean, if we actually did something like that people could have jobs, and when you have a job, what do? You buy a car, you buy clothes, you pay rent, you have a mortgage.
If poor people are given, or working class people are given money, they spend that money.
Yeah, man. I mean, but I think,
and that bolsters the economy. Them spending that money bolsters the economy. It makes more jobs for other people to be able to go out and do the same thing. You know, it's good for everyone. Basically.
Oh yeah, but the weird thing is the banks don't want them to give us the money. Well, first off, they don't give a shit. It's our fucking money.
Yeah,
All
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, it's our fuck. So I don't want to hear, well, it's free. No, motherfucker, everybody pays taxes. Even if you're disabled and you go to the grocery store, you're paying fucking tax.
Right.
If you buy gas, you're paying tax.
Right.
You know, so we all pay. So that's all our money anyway. But yet, who votes? Like, how many Americans would vote to spend $30 million in belief? No American would, unless it was a company that someone worked for, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. We're like, no, we got to fix Kentucky,
right?
Or we got to fix, these
Native
American.
I agree.
Areas.
Yeah.
Or this road's got a lot of potholes in it. And we're going to pay these people to fix it, and they're going to buy lunch at an American restaurant.
Yeah.
Buy a soda or two, pack of cigarettes, a Slim Jim, and a Dr. Pepper.
Right.
Fuck it. That's fine.
Right. We give Israel $40 billion, and all of their people get to go to college for free. All of their people get health care for free.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sounds to me like, some of that money should be going to people here who don't get health care, don't get to go to the dentist and shit like that.
But there's a poor person in a church that can't afford 10%, right? But yet they're okay with America giving Israel $40 billion.
Well, they don't understand. They don't understand. Again, they haven't been told that that money pays for all of their people to be able to go to college for free and get free health care. They're not informed about that.
Yeah, I mean you're at, but it's like well the Muslims are going to blow them up and kill them. No, they're not. It's so ridiculous to me. Because I've been all through the Middle East, and I've seen socialism. I've seen socialism in Kuwait, and every Kuwaiti gets money every month from their government because of oil derivatives. The same thing that happens in Alaska.
Because the oil that comes out of the ground in their country belongs to all of them. Belongs to all of them. And so if somebody's making money off it, they should get a little piece of that money. That's why.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But if we did that in America, then people in eastern Kentucky, southern Pennsylvania, and West Virginia would they'd be in a lot better place. Because they live there. That's their land. But it doesn't work that way here. But yet, they keep voting the same fucking way. I don't know, man. It's just confusing to me why someone would vote against their own interests. And I think it's just because kind of what you said earlier, like you're told you got to be this, you're told you got to be that.
Right. Misprogramming.
Meaning, there you go.
Misprogramming. We're misprogrammed from the time we're little that not almost to be against human nature, and then on top of the misprogramming, there's constantly misinformation. So even if you did have half a clue as to what's going on, being constantly misinformed makes it difficult to know which way to turn, regardless if you have a clue or not.
Yeah. I'm about to look into how much more money we do give Israel, like every year, and be like, damn, these motherfuckers be calling. But yeah, you're right. But yet Germany does it. Like Germany pays you, college is free, health care, it's in your taxes, but also, whenever you have a bad issue with paying your mortgage, the banks just tack on. They look at your situation. Okay, you're going to be out of work because you had knee surgery for 6 months. Then we'll just add 6 months to the back end of your mortgage. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because no one gains anything by getting evicted from the house because they're having, just a bad just a hard time. I understand the people, the shady people that don't want to pay fucking rent, kick them out. Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? But to the person that's trying and it's just not working out, you know, then there should be a program to where they can get into it. Maybe they have to move to a different state and try a different career field. Like in the Southeast, I don't know if you have do you have Waffle Houses out there in Washington State?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have seen them around somewhere, but I don't think it's in Washington.
Yeah, well, they're some of the best food. They have the best hash browns ever. They're always cooked the same. But when you go in Waffle House, believe me, you're gonna see a waitress missing some teeth. You know, you're gonna see people with tracks in their arms, and they're working off the tips. And it's one of them dead-end jobs that nobody retires from. You know, and it's more or less like, you know, we got to stop people. Nothing against Waffle House or those types of jobs, but we got to give younger people better resource to where if they do go work at Waffle House, they don't have they're not fucked up. They didn't make a lot of mistakes in their life. You know, and
well, if they do go work at Waffle House, they should still be able to access going to college or something like that. You know.
Oh yeah, but by that time, it's like that company feeds off the bottom feeders. You know, it's like when you go to Waffle House, you know that you're going to deal with. It's like, you know, someone who went through some hard times. And the food is good. They're nice. They're straight. I've never had, and I grew up in the South my whole life. And Waffle House is excellent.
Right on.
You know, but
I'm sure I've been there, but it was probably when I was little. You know, I remember they've been around a long time.
Oh yeah, man. But look, Mike, man, it's good to talk to you, brother. You take care, all right?
All right, Brandon, it's good to hear from you. I look forward to talking again soon.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
See it. All right, that's our buddy, 2 Bronze Star Brandon from, he said Nashville. I'm confused. I don't know. I didn't think he was from Nashville. I thought he was from, I'm not sure. But he said Nashville now, so I don't know. I want to play a video about Julian Assange, and I'll be back in just a sec here. If anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen. It's 805-669-6397, and we'll be happy to talk about Mr. Assange having his extradition blocked by a UK judge today. Good news. And why isn't the mainstream media in the United States talking about it? I'd like to know.
The UK is denying a request to extradite WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to the United States. A judge there said Assange is depressed and is considered a suicide risk, and further isolation in the U.S. could have a severe impact on his mental health. The U.S. Justice Department is planning to appeal and says it's extremely disappointed in the decision. Assange faces 18 charges in the U.S., most of which are alleged violations of the Espionage Act.
A court in London has ruled that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange cannot be extradited to the United States to face espionage charges, as this would be oppressive and damage his mental health. Mr. Assange, who is an Australian citizen, could face up to 175 years in jail if the US successfully appeals. His lawyers have applied for him to be released on bail. Meanwhile, Mexico has offered to grant him political asylum.
With news trickling out of the courtroom came chants of celebration from Julian Assange's supporters. Ecstatic that after 10 years of legal fights, they finally had some form of victory.
This protects him from extradition in the United Kingdom, but it doesn't protect him from extradition elsewhere around the world. It is time for the United States to shut down this extraordinary prosecution, which has massive free speech implications. And I certainly hope that this will be the end of this case.
Earlier, Assange's team began the day with low expectations. His fiancée called on Donald Trump to pardon the father of her 2 children.
As long as Julian has to endure suffering in isolation as an unconvicted prisoner in Belmarsh prison, and as long as our children continue to be bereft of their father's love and affection, we cannot celebrate. We will celebrate the day he comes home.
Inside the courtroom, the judge dismissed most of Assange's defence, but she conceded that his mental health was such that to extradite him would be oppressive. This lengthy legal battle began with a video that shocked the world. Assange released classified footage of US Apache helicopters killing Iraqi civilians and journalists.
It will shape an understanding of what the past 6 years of war has been like.
The US accused him and WikiLeaks of being enemy combatants. For the past decade, through thick and thin, Assange always maintained that he was a journalist. The saga is not over yet. The US government has said it will appeal today's decision.
Let's take a closer look at this with Rebecca Vincent, who's Director of International Campaigns at Reporters Without Borders. Welcome to DW. This is an odd sort of victory. Julian Assange would have been extradited if he'd been in better mental health.
Absolutely. And so while we are relieved as Reporters Without Borders that he will not be extradited, which is good news for Mr. Assange and his family, the rest of the decision that we heard today was quite concerning. All of the substantive points, really, the judge found overwhelmingly in the prosecution's favor. She rejected key aspects of the defense, including points that we firmly believe at Reporters Without Borders, such as the fact that this case is politically motivated and that it centers on journalism. So we were deeply disappointed with that substance, because that means that the door is then left open for possible future similar prosecutions of other publishers, journalists and sources.
And so what is it about this case that so concerned you? Because we must all obey the law, even journalists.
So the question with journalism is always if something is in the public interest defense, right? So in the U.S., the Espionage Act, under which 17 of the charges against Mr. Assange stem from, lacks a public interest defense. Had he been sent to the U.S. to face trial there, he would have been unable to defend himself, as would any other publisher, journalist or source that could be prosecuted under those charges. So that very law needs reform. Otherwise, the door is left open for future manipulation against journalists. And when you look at the substance of this case, really, not all of the misperceptions about Mr. Assange, not all of the other things that have happened in the years since, but what was actually being considered in these extradition proceedings, he did not break the law in any way that the U.S. government sufficiently proved. We have monitored the entire extradition proceedings here, including the week of legal arguments in February and the 4 weeks of evidence heard in September. And so far, we have still not seen any credible evidence from the U.S. government for the vast majority of the accusations it makes against Mr. Assange.
You say that the U.S. government has not proved its case, but surely that's what a court case is for.
Well, not if the case is political. And so that was one aspect of today's decision that we were most disappointed with, is the judge dismissing that, because this was absolutely politically motivated. We firmly believe that Mr. Assange was targeted for his contributions to journalism, for publishing information in the public interest that exposed war crimes and other illegal behavior by the U.S. government. Now, political offense in itself is meant to be a bar to extradition from the UK. And that is one aspect that we really disagree with the judge's decision here today. That in and of itself should have been enough to stop him from being extradited.
But if, as the US government contends, Mr. Assange's revelations put informants' lives at risk, then someone should be accountable for that.
Well, that is one area that the U.S. government systematically failed to prove. They have not, in 10 years, showed evidence of a single person that has been physically harmed as the result of the publication of the leaked documents. And I'm sorry, in 10 years and with the vast resources that the U.S. government has put into pursuing Mr. Assange, had there been any credible evidence of any of this harm, they would have submitted it to the court for scrutiny. But they did not. And quite the contrary, we heard actually in September evidence from those who actually, the publication of the leaked documents helped their own human rights cases. In fact, there was one case of a torture victim, somebody who had been the result of a mistaken identity had been rendered and tortured by U.S. forces. And so this is the sort of information that was exposed by the leak cables. It is these acts that should be prosecuted, not the publication of the documents themselves.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rebecca Vincent from Reporters Without Borders.
All right, so I think it's good news about Julian Assange. I'm really glad to hear that. When I first saw it today, that was the first time I titled the show. I just pulled this Tanya Roberts clip. Tanya Roberts is live again. I put it on a different spot, so I think I can play it now. I'm gonna play it for you real quick here. Tanya Roberts is alive. I'm telling you.
24 hours after reporting her death, the spokesperson for actress and former Bond girl Tanya Roberts says she's alive. On Sunday, Roberts' publicist sent out a press release saying the 65-year-old That 70s Show star died at the hospital after collapsing at her home on Christmas Eve. Roberts' boyfriend got the call confirming she was alive while doing an interview with Inside Edition. At this hour, it is unclear how this mix-up happened.
So I thought that was really good news. I wanted to make sure you guys got that good news. And I didn't want you to think that I was making it up. Tanya Roberts is still alive. According to reports, Tanya Roberts is still alive. And I actually thought she was great on That 70s Show. So I'm really glad to hear that. That is good news. Let's see. So I also have one more video for you guys about the Democrats protesting the outcome of the election. So I'll play that for you in a minute if anybody wants to call, because this time it's the Republicans that are protesting the outcome of the election. But I keep bringing up Fahrenheit 9/11, the Michael Moore documentary. At the beginning of that movie, you'll see it's the Democrats that are protesting the outcome of the election. And in this upcoming clip I have, you'll see that that's seems to be the norm, is the Democrats protesting. Hello, caller.
Hey, Michael. Good news for Julian Assange and all his supporters.
I think it's good news for freedom, but yeah, I think it's really, really good news for Julian Assange and his parents. I imagine his mom is tremendously relieved by that news.
Yeah, I've been talking to his mom on Twitter for, I don't know, 8 years now, and you know, when you're in a fucking prison, especially American prison, I don't know that much about English prisons, you don't get no fucking vitamins, and and I think when people would visit him in the Ecuadorian embassy, they would give him vitamins, but for the last year, more than a year now, he hasn't been getting any vitamins. They won't even give him a jacket in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
He's been sitting there freezing in his fucking cell, solitary confinement. There's COVID-19 all over Belmarsh prison right now.
Yeah.
So he's fucked up, and he's in really bad health. And the judge's main reason for letting him off the hook, not getting extradited to the U.S. was, he'd commit suicide in a U.S. prison. They're so bad. It's not that he didn't do anything wrong, or he's just a journalist, or everyone else published the same material as him. It's that the American prisons are so bad, he would commit suicide. That was the judge's statement.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck is that? Why don't you just address the issue? The guy's a journalist and a publisher, and he never did anything wrong, and fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, America. Fuck you, CIA. Fuck you, Justice Department.
Yeah.
They should just burn the guy at the fucking stake in public on TV, rather than killing him slowly over a 7-year period. You know, and let's see, the CIA went to Spain and hired a Spanish company to spy on him in the fucking Ecuadorian embassy, everything, and then they made up shit like, oh, he was rubbing shit on the walls of the Ecuadorian embassy.
Right.
You know? It's like so ridiculous. So
he's leaving cat poop everywhere.
Yeah, and they were spying on his lawyers, listening into private attorney-client privilege conversations. And the CIA has all that. The Justice Department has all that. You probably don't even know. Maybe you do. That a month ago, he released the last of the WikiLeaks cables, which basically confirmed Seth Rich was the leaker of the DNC emails.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that forever. I mean, that's pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, well, you remember years ago, or like, what was it, after 2016, he spoke about Seth Rich, but he wouldn't confirm that Seth Rich was the leaker.
Well,
but he did.
If you look at
confirm it a month ago.
Yeah, if you look at the front page of the Mox News YouTube page, right? If you go to the very front page, it says right here there is a playlist called the Murder of Seth Rich, and the very first story is disgusted Democrat insider, not Russian leaks. You know, it's the source of the leaks. So, you know, that's the very first video on the Murder of Seth Rich playlist. So
yeah, and,
on the very front of the Mox News YouTube page. So this is you know,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's good work. That's good work, Mike. I wish you would post every major leak and story that you could possibly find, because it ain't over. Just because Julian Assange ain't getting
it ain't over. It ain't over. You have to be careful. I mean, look, you know, I've had for the last 3 months, I've had copyright strikes on this YouTube page, and that means that at any second it can just go away. You know, but now those have expired, so it gives me a little bit extra playroom to breathe. You know.
Well, I noticed that they, at least Facebook, changed their algorithms to a stricter form. I'm not even sure if they know that when they change their algorithms what they're doing, but they changed it to a stricter form. And apparently in the omnibus bill, or the bill that the frog man, lizard man, Senator, he stopped it last week, McConnell, he stopped. And that was
that Turtle Boy. You need to get it
Turtle
right.
Boy, yeah. And that was, I think it's called 203, which is has wording on restricting the monopolies of Facebook and getting better control over Facebook and Twitter and shit like that. Twitter's algorithms have gotten slightly better, but Facebook's have gotten slightly worse. And then Mark Zuckerberg contributed $400 million to swing state elections. So he apparently Zuckerberg is really involved in American elections. I mean, I know that's a drop in a hat to him, and probably to elections in general. $400 million isn't that much. But I mean, what did Bloomberg spend? Bloomberg spent a fucking almost, I don't know, half a 500 million, a billion on just his stupid little campaign. You know, so, but you know, the Julian Assange needs a fucking break. He needs some vitamin D3. He needs I wasn't aware that if he went to a different country, he would be in jeopardy. But until the United States drops their fucking case, keep your head down, stay low. Accept all the love from all the people, man. That guy's been so beat up. Isn't that the way of the world, that the nice guys get punished for shit they didn't even do, for doing the right thing?
For doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, the demons and the devils get away with murder, literally. That's part of what woke me up, was seeing the Collateral Murder video. And, you know, within 2 weeks of that video coming out, Tunisia erupted. 2 weeks later, Egypt erupted, and then Bahrain, and then Libya. And by the time it hit Libya, Bahrain, they never had a chance in Bahrain because they get the Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. The United States ain't going to let Bahrain do shit. It's like, squish the population, we got a Navy base here. But Libya, that's Obama Clinton right there. That's Libya. Those murders, 1 million dead people, however many, funding Al Qaeda. I still remember Gaddafi saying Al Qaeda, Al Qaeda. He was right. It's just Al Qaeda, man. It wasn't. But on our TVs, we were hearing, oh, it's a civil war. It wasn't a civil war. Those people were so happy, and Syria, the same thing. It wasn't a civil war. Those people loved their fucking president. It was the United States funding the very same people we're supposed to be fighting, through the Patriot Act. So we are in I'm happy for Julian Assange. It's one small grain of sand, and the guy could use a break. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we got freedom of the press.
No
way. I mean, look at your TVs, look at your YouTube channels, look at all the fact checkers they got now. You can't even say certain words on certain platforms, or you'll get ousted from the platform. But yeah, Seth Rich was almost certainly murdered by the CIA, who owns DNC, the Democratic Party, and then and the media and everything else.
Yeah.
So, that's what Eisenhower was talking about. The military-industrial complex. That's the fornication and the mutual masturbation of the CIA and the intelligence community, which is into everything, even the FBI. You got CIA agents in the FBI, and the corporations, military-industrial. The corporations are an industry that makes weapons and planes and everything they need for war, including MREs and flak jackets and every fucking thing. And Benghazi was an attempt in Libya. That Ambassador Stevens, who was a CIA agent, to get back, I don't know how many thousands, I heard like 10,000 Stinger missiles, shoulder-mounted missiles that can take planes and helicopters right out of the sky. And
that was the first thing. That was when Libya fell. The first thing that they noticed that was missing was 10,000 Stinger missiles that were located at some fucking naval port or something.
Yeah, that was Ambassador Stevens' job. And, he worked for the Secretary of State, the Department of State. But he was actually a CIA operative, and it wasn't even an embassy. It was like this half-ass fake embassy with, and I think he emailed Hillary Clinton, I don't know, a couple hundred times saying, we need backup here, we need backup here, we need more men here, we need more men here.
Yeah.
And they cut him loose. Remember that movie with Harrison Ford? It was called, what was that called? It was called A Clear and Present Danger, where he sets up some guys to go into South America, but then some of the president's men cut loose and denied any knowledge of their involvement into South America. Harrison Ford goes and talks to some Pablo Escobar type guy, a cocaine cartel guy, and fucks up the whole operation. Then he goes back to the president, and he's really pissed at the president. And the president says, well, now you got a ticket to the big game. You got a chip in the big game now. Just don't bust me on it. And that's exactly what Hillary Clinton did. She cut those guys loose. She allowed the deaths of American people in Libya, and what did she say? We came, we saw, he died. It's like, fuck you. I mean, is it any wonder she couldn't get elected? She's such a rancid, demonic.
Yeah, she's horrible. I mean, I fear that she would have to like prove that she's more of a man than Dick Cheney ever fucking dreamed of being. You know, if she became the president of the White House. You know, it's very scary to think of Hillary, but I sure would like to see a woman in the White House. You know, in the Oval Office.
You would?
I really would like to see a woman in the White House, man.
Oh, dude, I don't even see the difference anymore. Any woman that comes up through the political ranks to even approach the office of the presidency is already compromised.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, you know, like what they did to Tulsi. You know, Tulsi seemed like a good person, and then they fucking just you know, crucified.
Tulsi's not that bright, dude.
I think she's kind of a, you know, I think you're misinterpreting island nature for not that bright. You know, island people, they move at a different pace. So
well, first of all, I hang out with occasionally, not so much anymore, with Hare Krishnas, and that's what she is. She's a Hare Krishna, so I can respect her beliefs as far as that stuff goes. And I know that means she has a really good nature. But she was against, same-sex marriage for a while. And then she, grew up, she had a premonition, she got a big idea in her head. Oh, maybe it's not a bad thing. That's slow thinking. You should have known that by the time you were fucking 17, Tulsi. And then it's like, oh, we have to protect our soldiers, this and that and that and that. It's like, you know, you got a military mind, Tulsi. Maybe the war machine ain't the best thing. And you know, I love you, Tulsi, and you're great, and you speak up and you try to speak the truth, but I just don't think you're as bright as other people, you know. And I like Tulsi. I just don't think... I think she's a slow learner. I don't think she knows that those buildings in New York were exploded. If she did, she's got the character to do the right thing. Maybe. We'll see. But,
she said that she would be down with a new investigation into the 9/11. You know, so cool. I mean, nobody else says shit like that. You know, they say, "Oh, we have to look forward." You know.
Yeah, well, if you're in the political arena, you got to watch your speech. You can't just come straight out and say, "Hey, 9/11 was an inside job."
Well, it sounds like what you expect her to do. You know.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, this is, you know, and it's the same way. Look, I understand. There's reasons to question. All I know is that I feel like she went to Syria, right? When we were being lied into war in Syria, she went to Syria, and she went to all of her fucking colleagues in the Congress, in the House of Representatives, and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Syria, and I'd like some of you to come with me. Anybody want to go?" And nobody would go with her, and they all told her not to go. Okay, so.
And she met with Assad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's got a good heart. I'm just saying, if she believes in the war narrative, you know, like, oh, Iran is bad, Syria is bad, Gaddafi was bad, the American military might, we need to have a supreme American military might. It's like, you know, we've got 20 times the soldiers and bombs of the next biggest country. I mean, or at least we spend more than 20 times more than the next biggest country. So right now, the great enemy of the United States is not Russia. It's not Iran. It's not, you know, Assad. It's not anybody in South America. It's China. And China has been infiltrating the United States, including the politicians and including the corporations. and including Wall Street, and including the media, for a minimum of 20 years. And I hate to sound like Joseph McCarthy, communism, communism, communism. But right now, those Chinese are smarter than us unless we put a stop to it. America has more innovation than any other country, but China is the better thief. China's got all our movies. Everything that should be copyrighted is just mass-produced there, and every movie studio is, and everybody that holds a copyright on anything, it's their invention or their idea or their intellectual property is being spread across China and they get 0 cents on the dollar, on the yen. So China doesn't respect the United States. China sees the United States as an open country and easy prey. And I think we have moved from nuclear bombs and smart bombs and troop movements. We moved into the area of biological warfare, supported by propaganda, and that's where we're at. That's what World War III is. That supposedly you got 30 mutations of the COVID-19 virus. I don't know if that's true, but I do know, I'm pretty sure anyways, that mutations mutate back towards the original form, which is just the fucking flu, basically. So the propaganda machine is still going. They're still trying to keep us locked down. The next couple of days are going to be important in American history. There's a chance Trump could invoke the Insurrection Act and force his way on the election issue. That would be very interesting to see, and the way he goes about it would determine the way I feel about it. But in either case, no matter what Trump does, it's time for a revolution in the country. Stand up to the unjust police. Stand up to the police state. Stand up to the illegal lockdowns. These are illegal. They've killed your jobs. They've killed the economy of your countries. Multiple. I'm speaking not just for America, but all over the world. England right now is on massive fucking lockdown. Something good happened in England. That's great. Assange hopefully will get out of prison and be able to eat some fish and chips and hide from the press. I don't think he wants to see the press. I don't know, man. Get yourself cleaned up and recovered before you do a bunch of fucking interviews. That's what I would do. It's like, fuck, I'm fucked up. I'm crippled for life in my head, man. I'm fucking psychically injured.
Yeah.
I want a fucking vacation, visit with my kids,
Yeah.
Go and watch.
Well, you got to figure out how damaged you are. It's really difficult to tell how damaged you are, and then you figure it out, and then you got to figure out what it takes to recover from that, and kind of start heading that direction, and then you can worry about career,
Right. I mean, I'm sure he's got a lot to say, but we don't even know the details on when he's going to get out.
I don't hear anybody talking about him getting out, so.
Yeah, well, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't rape any women.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything wrong. He's a good guy.
He didn't do anything wrong.
And the good guys get punished. The nail that stands up gets hammered, and he got hammered. So, yeah, man. Freedom of the press is still being squished by the powers that don't want you to know the truth about things. And Donald Trump won the fucking election by millions and millions of votes, and fuck Joe Biden and fuck Kamala Harris. They should be, these people are traitors. These are really bad people. And the DNC, the Democratic National, what does that stand for? C is committee. That's a corporation. They're not beholden to any voters at all. And that was already stated in the courts 2 years ago at least.
Yeah.
And Seth Rich was murdered because he leaked to WikiLeaks some files that he downloaded onto a fucking thumb drive. And that's already been proven because the download speed was measured, and it can only be a thumb drive. It wasn't sent via emails, you know? The emails were downloaded onto a fucking thumb drive and then somehow delivered to WikiLeaks. So, yeah, I mean, the big game goes on, man. It's like we're not all free just because they didn't kill Julian Assange today. And the deep state, the CIA has got agents in Silicon Valley, in the FBI, in the Justice Department, in the State Department, in the Pentagon, on CIA agents in the Pentagon, in every aspect of the political spectrum, the CIA agents, and that's why Kennedy wanted to break the CIA into a million pieces. And it was the Dulles brothers. It was Allen Dulles, basically, who coordinated all the forces which blew Kennedy's head off in 1963. It was Allen Dulles, the head of the CIA. They fucked him on the Bay of Pigs. All he wanted was his 1/3 of the power. You got the judiciary, you got the Senate, and you got the presidential powers. And if the CIA is subverting any one of those, then they're an anti-American force. They're subverting the Constitution. And so he probably got advice from Eisenhower. Eisenhower was already on top of it. And then Kennedy tried to stop it, and they blew his fucking head off. So, and here we are. Now we got the biggest scam in the history of the world called COVID-19. And they're going to start calling it COVID-21 pretty soon.
Pretty soon, huh? I think you're probably right. Hey, I gotta go, Mike. I gotta take a break for a minute.
All right, take care, Michael.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon, I hope.
Take care.
Okay, see you. All right, so I'm gonna play a quick clip for you. I'll be right back, and we'll go from there. If anybody wants to call, the number's there on the screen. Be right back.
Looking ahead, the balance of power in the Senate could be decided as early as tomorrow as voters head to the polls in 2 Senate runoff races. Republican incumbents David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are being challenged by Democrats Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. The Democratic Party needs to win both seats to flip the Senate, giving them the majority in both houses of Congress and in the White House. Some top Republicans say a newly released phone call between President Trump and the Georgia Secretary of State could hurt their party's candidates in those runoff races. During the hour-long call, President Trump puts pressure on Georgia's top election official to help him flip the presidential election results.
I just want to find 11,780 votes. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Joe Biden won Georgia by 11,779 votes. Today, longtime Republican and top Georgia election official Gabriel Sterling slammed the president's attempts to overturn the election and debunked a long list of his false claims of election fraud.
There's no shredding of ballots going on. That's not real. It's not happening. No one is changing parts or pieces out of Dominion voting machines. That's not a real, I don't even know what that means. It's not a real thing. Secretary Raffensperger does not have a brother named Ron Raffensperger. That is also not real. The president tweeted that out as well.
Also developing today, all 10 former defense secretaries who are still living wrote a letter to the president urging him to accept defeat and move on. That includes 2 secretaries that served under President Trump and former Vice President Dick Cheney, who sources say came up with the idea to write the letter. President Trump is expected to campaign in Georgia in the next couple of hours. We'll have the latest on what he says in response to the new tapes that were released. Look for that tonight on Como News. With just 16 days until the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden, those challenging his election win are digging in. The effort is being led by President Trump himself. National correspondent Christine Frizzell reports it could make for a chaotic Wednesday in Washington.
On the steps of the U.S. Capitol, a new class of lawmakers poses for a portrait and braces for a wild week ahead. Preparations now underway for the thousands of Trump supporters expected for a march on Wednesday. The president himself promising to address them. All this while inside the U.S. Capitol, another protest is planned. At least 12 Republican senators and more than 140 House members set to object to formally ratify the Electoral College results. Joe Biden getting 306 votes, Donald Trump getting 232.
We have an obligation to the voters, and we have an obligation to the Constitution to ensure that this election was lawful.
Others, including longtime Trump allies like Senator Mitch McConnell, are opposing the effort. He's now joined by Arkansas's Tom Cotton, who said in a statement the founders entrusted our elections chiefly to the states, not Congress. President Trump today calling them the Surrender Caucus and weak and ineffective guardians of our nation for not joining in the objection.
It's an action that will have a bright spotlight shown on it, but it's not quite unprecedented. In the past, it's been Democrats who have led challenges against the Electoral College certification, and for similar reasons, to call attention to voter irregularities during the election.
Why did poor and predominantly African-American communities have disproportionately long waits?
Both California Senator Barbara Boxer and the late Ohio Congresswoman Stephanie Tubbs Jones said repeatedly their challenge was not intended to try to overturn the results of the election.
I raise this objection to debate the process and protect the integrity of the true will of the people.
225 years since our founding, there are still legitimate concerns over the integrity of our elections.
Those concerns were raised and did not alter the outcome, nor are they expected to do so this Wednesday. I'm Christine Frizzau reporting.
All right. So, and again, I've been pointing this out for a month or so about at the beginning of the Michael Moore documentary Fahrenheit 9/11. They show the Democrats protesting the outcome of the 2000 election. The Democrats in the House of Representatives, the joint session of Congress that's going to take place here on Wednesday. They show that in the beginning of Michael Moore's movie, documentary, Fahrenheit 9/11. So, and again, this is why I wanted to share that video with you, because they talk about this, usually the Democrats that are contesting the election in the past. So, I'm out of phone callers, I'm out of clips, and I'm hungry. So I gotta go get something to eat. I guess we'll do this again tomorrow night. Craig, we do this again tomorrow night? Yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And so hopefully we'll get a chance to see some of you there. Until then, stay cool. One of these days, this war is going to end. It's got to end one of these days. Unfortunately, probably not with people like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in power, because that's not what they're known for. What? Yeah. All right. Hopefully see you tomorrow night. Same Mox time, same Mox channel, 7 p.m. Pacific. Hopefully we see you then. Stay cool.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.